cuffs are off, man. Get right. Too many left in these leagues, but I ain't gonna leave. I'ma get right. Get right. Down to the bottom and scratch it for all the...
Hey everybody, Adam Rank here.
What's up, everybody? It's Marcus Grant.
This is AJ Dillon of the Green Bay Packers.
I got to give a shout out to y'all at Get Right Fantasy.
If you are not subscribed, what are you waiting for? You want to lose your league?
Our league. Check out the Get Right Fantasy Network.
You got to get right with the Get Right Fantasy Network.
And best of luck with your podcast. Appreciate the support.
And you're tuned in to watch my boys at Get Right Fantasy Network. Get you right. Enjoy the show.
But I tune in every Friday. Strategies provided, I will lock in every way. So go and roll your sleeves up. Yeah, go roll your sleeves up. And I'm getting down cause I roll my sleeves up. And I'm getting right cause I roll my sleeves up.
What up? What up? What up, world? We are back. I'm Anthony, aka Rasta, and this is Get Right Fantasy Network. I'm here solo again tonight because my boy Frank is hanging out in an undisclosed location, taking a little vacation. So shout out to my boy out there having a good time. Yeah, man, hope you guys got done watching Phil's show not too long ago, The Dynasty Outlook. Yeah, but tonight we're gonna get into playoff mode, man. We're here. We're gonna do a little kind of ask me anything type show. So bring your questions in the chat, and we'll definitely get to them as we go along. Of course, I will go through the injury news and topics and updates and stuff like that. We will preview the tomorrow night's game, the Thursday night football, Rams at my Niners. So we'll do a start sit real quick there. And then, like I said, we'll get to your guys' questions for as long as you have them. If I need to kill some time while questions and stuff are coming in, I'll probably just kind of go through our listener leagues and give a little shout out to our listeners who have played against us Get Right guys throughout the year, kind of give them their credit where their credit's due. So we'll shine some light there and let you know how those kind of results are for anyone who is following in the off season. Of course, I'm sure you guys are interested. A lot of you guys tried to get in those leagues. So I'm sure you're interested to see where they stand now. And so, yeah, just depending again on the time, if we can go back and look at drafts, all that, maybe we can do that more next week. Or, once we know the actual winners, kind of go look back and take a look at their draft. So we'll kind of just play that by ear. But yeah, we have 5 different leagues, I believe, that are Get Right leagues. We have our Guillotine League, which was really fun this year. We have our mock draft Tournament of Champions update. I'm sure you guys are interested in that from our mock draft. And those of you guys who are new to us and weren't here with us during the summer and found us just, during the year, we actually do a mock draft tournament during the off season. So in the month of August, every week we run mock drafts daily, and the Get Right crew just kind of grades and ranks those teams. And it's kind of like a little contest that helps just kind of get that last, month by. It's a lot of fun. And basically you have a chance to win $50 cash by earning your way into the finale, which ultimately is a best ball draft that gets played out. And then the winners will take home the cash and, of course, the crown champion of the draft. So yeah, we're going to get into the update there. And then, of course, our listener league, our Got Left Out listener league. And then, of course, our ambassador league from the Get Right crew here and some of the listeners that help us promote the brand. So again, we'll kind of get into that here during tonight's show. But more importantly, let us know where, where you're sitting this week, who you're looking to have a big week out of. Let us know how you did. Of course, we want to hear all that, and this is the place to tell us. So hopefully you join in on that. We do have the Roll in the house. What's up, Roll? Been a little bit, but good to see you. He says, Caleb greater than JD5. Do you agree? He says he traded a projected late 25 first and A-Rod for Sam Darnold, and thoughts on that. So what up, Dim boys? Good to see you, man. It's been a little minute for you as well, too. I know I'm on a little earlier tonight, so hopefully capture a little bit of you guys who haven't been able to make it when we're on super late here during the week. So going back to the Rolls question here, man, we have Caleb or Jaden Daniels. I mean, obviously the draft talent with their, fantasy wise, I don't think it's a question like that. JD5 is better. If you're talking just pure quarterback prospect and like what weapons maybe are around him or weren't around him. I mean, Caleb didn't end up kind of being what we thought he was going to be right out of the get. And a lot of, Daniel's production, of course, did come on the ground, but he came in throwing a lot better as well. And yeah, he's saying it's in dynasties is what you're asking. Who do I want moving forward in a dynasty league? To me, it would be Caleb. I just think he could have potentially more of a longevity. He has the arm talent. He just needs to, hopefully make some better, decisions, build the offense kind of a little better around him, I guess you'd say, get a running game, a legitimate running game. They could build on the defense, but I mean, I think the longevity of Caleb, it might be a little better than your typical kind of rushing quarterback, so to speak. Just because he may not, put himself in harm's way. And we've seen, Daniels take a couple big hits this year. Luckily, he hasn't really sustained any major injuries, but it could happen. We even saw, two-time MVP Lamar Jackson, start missing a ton of time. It wasn't until last season that he finally played a full year since his MVP season. So those are just, things to think about, from this fantasy standpoint. Again, just depending on, kind of what you want. But as our boy, Phil would say over on the Extra Point, you look at dynasty in like a 2 to 3 year window. And so over the next 2 or 3 years, if I had to put money on who would be a top 5 guy in fantasy over the next, 2 to 3 years, I would put my money on Daniels. But like I said, who knows, what could happen there. So, but good question. Again, keep them coming. Again, this is an Ask Me Anything show here. Like I said, I have some stuff we'll get into, but mainly just want to be here, hang out with you guys, man, and take some questions. And again, let me know how you're doing in your leagues and how you're feeling, man. It's exciting. It's playoff time, man. So let's get excited and see what we got going on this week. So going to his other question, he said he traded a projected late 25 first and Aaron Rodgers for Sam Darnold. I don't think it's too bad. I would have probably tried to target someone else, but I understand sometimes that, when you get, when you have sometimes you can only unload certain players to certain people. So I'm sure in dynasty leagues, when you have to do something like that, not a lot of suitors for Aaron Rodgers. So the fact that you were able to just move off him, granted, I would have preferred like maybe a second over a late first, but I mean, like you said, it's basically a second almost. Not too bad. Sam Darnold might have played his way into a starting, role somewhere else next year, kind of being one of these bridge type, quarterbacks. Maybe it could be someone like, Gino, find himself getting a 3-year, stint somewhere or something like that. So it's not too bad of an investment, but if I was going to move a first, like, I'd rather add to that first a little more, maybe add a second or add a second first to go get yourself an actual quarterback that or feel is going to be in a good spot for a good while. But again, we don't know how McCarthy's going to recover off his injury, or just based on the way they're playing, are they going to potentially extend him and let him kind of learn, let McCarthy learn under Darnold. But you would assume, just kind of the way the NFL works, that they spend a high pick on McCarthy, they're going to want to get him some playing time, here soon before they gotta, pay him basically. So, or make a decision to pay him or pick up the 5th-year option, and all that kind of stuff. So, just something to think about there. But yeah, I mean, in a nutshell, it's not too bad. Shout out to JH, man. Appreciate it, man. Shooting us a little super chat here. We do have the super chats on, man. So really do appreciate that. Says thanks for all you do in his questions in the chat. So appreciate that. We'll get to it right now. He says, sit one, please. AJ Brown versus Pitt, Evans versus the Chargers, McLaurin versus New Orleans, and Jennings versus the Rams tomorrow night. So I think of these guys, I want to say Jennings I have at 15. So I have him as a start. McLaurin I have at 11. I like his matchup against New Orleans this week as well. So I'm definitely sitting those two. Or I'm starting those two. AJ Brown I do have at 9 over Pitt here in my initial just kind of Wednesday rankings. But I'm not really feeling it too much, just again with the way that offense is going. but he kind of has the squeaky wheel, which is why I kind of have him up there like that. And how do you just sit AJ Brown in week 15 of your playoffs? This guy is probably your first round pick. And then, Evans has, they're going to try to get him that 1,000 yards. It has a decent matchup here against the Chargers. Baker's, he's going to put it up there. Could be a potential shootout there with the Chargers. You have basically all top 15 type guys here for me. On a technicality, I guess Jennings is the lowest man here on the totem pole. But yeah, it's still hard to get away from him. And you see the hat I'm wearing. Oh, and he says it's half PPR. Yeah, these are just touchdown type guys though. Like these are the guys that kind of score on their team if it is in the air. I am just worried about it, even though I have AJ Brown ranked the highest. He's the one I'm most worried about, and I'm sure that's why you're asking this question and paid the super chat for it, because it is a tough question. Like, how do you again sit AJ Brown? Man, like how do you sit AJ Brown in week 15? Man, I don't think I could do it, man. Like really, I bet you if I just take the name off the jersey and look at the numbers, it's just I know the output hasn't been great, but like you're talking of a floor of 8.3 points. Like if that's a terrible game, 4 for 4 for 43, like it was his second worst game of the season. Like his worst game was 5.6 points where he went 2 for 4 for 36, but I assume he got hurt that game because he only played 47% of the snaps against Jacksonville, but he did play the next week at Dallas. So can't remember exactly what happened back in week 9, why he only had that stat line and only played those snaps. But I mean, yeah, other than that, like even though he's complaining about, or they're saying quote unquote, he's complaining about possibly not getting the ball and all that stuff, I mean, he's still seeing 6, 7, 8 targets. I mean, it's not 10, 12 targets like, some of these top elite, Justin Jefferson, these guys, Jamar Chase, like he's not seeing that type of target share. But again, he is sharing the field with Barkley. So the quality of target's going to be higher when they do throw him the ball. So that's why you see him go 6 for, 7 for 109 and a touchdown. He just did that against the Rams in week 12. So not that far removed. I mean, he's so safe. Like, so that's why I can't get away from him. And then he can still balloon for, he can go for 20, 30 points. We just haven't really quite seen that as much this year. Like he's been hit like between 11, 15, points, has had a couple 20-point games. But yeah, we've seen these other guys kind of go, a little more nuclear. So, man, that's really, really tough, man. Like I said, my rankings say Jennings, AJ Brown, man, JH, you might have to come back to me on Friday when I guess you have to make this. I think I'm starting Jennings no matter what tomorrow. So like I personally would probably be okay sitting McLaurin more than anything. Like, because I can't sit AJ Brown. So I'm going to go AJ Brown, Evans, and Jennings. If Evans is still kind of like banged up and we're not hearing maybe good stuff towards the end of the week, because he is questionable. They still have him, dealing with the hamstring. He didn't suit up for practice today. Could be just more of a rest day. They say he's going to start. I mean, I can't sit him either. I mean, you're talking about the same type of floor, but even higher upside again with no Godwin. Yeah, I can't get away from Evans, man. So if anyone, man, I'm gonna go McLaurin. Because I mean, even last time we seen him, he had the 2 touchdown game and all that, but and then he caught so he had 73 and 2 touchdowns the last game, scored 27, was coming off 2 20-point games. Yeah, man, you got a really good problem, man. You stumped me here, JH, man. This is a tough spot to be in. He's saying, yeah, the same thing for sure. And yeah, Evans always misses Wednesday. So, I mean, we're all thinking the same thing, man. So you might have to come back to me. I think I'm starting Jennings for sure, though. Like again, Debo hasn't really been much. We're going to get into that game here in a little bit. But I have Jennings, again at 15. Yeah, man. McLaurin's tough to get away from. No Eckler there. Yeah, man. Yeah, Evans banged up. Yeah, dude, you stumped me, man. This is a good one. I mean, I guess based on my rankings, I'd said Jennings. But if you're worried at all about Evans potentially missing or anything like that, man, yeah, I don't think you're gonna go wrong either way. Like, I think all these guys have like a decent floor, so I don't think you can really make a bad call. It's just the only thing that's even tougher about it is, again, it's win or go home, right? So it's not just, if you lose this week, that's all right. Like, you feel confident, moving forward. You got to start that right guy this week. So, I mean, I trust Purdy. They know the Rams. Jennings, man, could go off. Evans, AJ Brown, he can't sit him. Yeah, to me, it's going to be between McLaurin and Jennings. That's why I'd say go there. So yeah, definitely a tough one, man. Good question. Well worth the super chat, man. I appreciate it. Thanks for shooting that to us. Yeah, and Noah Brown. Yeah, man. You got, like I said, I don't think you really go wrong. They probably all score about the same. So let's hope they all go off. And I mean, unless I'm playing against any of them. But I definitely want Mike Evans to go off. So yeah, I think that's why I'm kind of leaning that way too, of having him in there. So anyway, all right. So, and then he had another question. He says, Bo Nix or Baker in 6 point. I believe I have Baker ahead on that one. So let's see. I still think I have them both as starts. If anything, I have Bo Nix right outside of the top 12. Yeah, so I just moved Winston ahead of him going up against Kansas City. They're going to have to throw a lot. Kansas City hasn't been as shut down, lately. And just, yeah, I mean, Winston's going to throw 40 times. But I like Nix. I have him at 13. I have him ahead of guys like Stafford, Tua, Herbert. But I do have Baker at 11. So, yeah, I only have Winston in between them. So there you go. Good stuff. All right. So the roll asked, or wait, hold on. Let me see. Let me go back. Where were we before that super chat came in? We had Ravens show. What's up, man? Saying, what's up, coach? How you doing? We got Drew Lauro in here, man. Good to see you. He says, what's good, Rasta? Kyler or Darnold rest of season, or should I stream? I'm actually holding kind of both these guys. I have both of these guys in several places. I actually spot started Darnold for Lamar, probably one of the best moves in my season. I still actually lost the week, but I already had I had a first round bye clinched. It was either going to be the first or second seed. Luckily, the guy also lost, and I had him by points, so I retained the first seed with that. I don't like to look at anything rest of the season. I'd like to kind of just take it week by week. And of course, I do have Darnold and Murray back to back in this one. I have Murray just ahead. But I literally can continue to switch them back and forth. I have him at 6 and 7. Murray right now at 6. I just think he has a good matchup against here in New England. If he gets back to running the ball a bit here. Marvin Harrison Jr. can have a good game. So, we'll see what happens. But again, it is a little early in the week, but I think you want to keep both of them because Kyler's so up and down. If you want someone who's kind of going to be a little more steady Eddie, you can go with Darnold. But like Kyler can literally win you a playoff game. So, again, just depends on how you want to play your fantasy football, man. If you're not first, you're last, or you're trying to just, be more classic, let's say, and kind of have more of your guaranteed points, so to speak. So just depends on how you don't mind losing, basically. All right. So the rule says that Mixon is better than CMC at this point. I mean, if you're talking just this fantasy season, then of course, yes, because Mixon's still playing. But I mean, you saw what happened, just the flashes of CMC when he was just getting going, before he even went down in that game. He was going to have a huge game, and he was just getting back to being the CMC that we all know and love or hate, depending on if you've had him or lost championships to him. But yeah, Mixon is, was still good, but no one's like CMC, man, when he's healthy. So we just haven't seen it in a while. Just go back and look at last year and look how many more points he scored than everybody else last year. Mixon's not doing that this year. Like, even if you add on his average for the games that he missed, like, he's still, there's a whole other echelon to get to put someone up there with CMC. So he literally breaks fantasy. He's one of those type of players. All right. The rules, getting back to Donald and McCarthy situation wise, is like Breves and Rivers in San Diego back in the day. Yeah, I think you were saying up here before that you think one of them might get traded or something like that. So, oh yeah, there you go. I think both guys will be starters somewhere else. So they might, one of them gets traded and they both will be starting. Yeah, I mean, I could easily see that with Darnold if that were to happen. So let me try to fix my light. It keeps flashing on me. All right. So what else we got? Again, keep your questions coming, guys. This is Ask Me Anything show, man. I'm here for the chat. I got stuff I can get to. We got news and notes that we'll get into, but mainly here just for you guys here, taking your questions and comments. Just kind of a little interactive show here. Just trying to buy time, man, to get us to tomorrow night and start our get some points on the board in our on our playoffs, first round of the playoffs. So yeah, keep them coming. Again, make sure you're hitting that like and subscribe button for us as well too. If you are watching like on X, I always forget to say this, but pop over to YouTube real quick, hit that subscribe button. If you're not already subscribed, you can go back to watching on X, but we'd really appreciate it. Like, we don't do Spotify or any of those other places. Obviously we stream through X, but our subscribership in what we're trying to build is our YouTube following. So that would help us as well. Excuse me. All right. Let's see, where else were we at? Yeah, so Unotime Music. I might be saying that wrong, but he says, all right, huge start sitter, Tua or Sam. So you just heard me say all the good things about Darnold. Obviously Addison's hot right now. Justin Jefferson's the man. Like, he's always going to be up there because he has the best wide receiver in the game. Kevin O'Connell loves to throw the ball, and just in a good offense that yields points for fantasy. So, and we've seen both guys just go off. They almost finished 1 and 2 last week if it wasn't for Puka going crazy. So with that said, I do have Tua down at 15 this week, and I have Sam Darnold, as I mentioned earlier, at 7. Obviously, that was well before you wrote the question, over 10 minutes ago when you wrote this. But yeah, so I have Darnold well over Tua. I just kind of kept finding guys that I liked a little better than Tua this week, just because, again, right when you start to feel comfortable with Tua again, he could just take a hit. I know that can happen to anyone, but it doesn't even really need to take a big hit, and so it does kind of worry me. But I like what I'm seeing with Tyreek. I'm feeling more comfortable with him, and even the emergence of Waddle lately has been nice as well. Obviously, coming off a couple big games, so I still like him. He's 15, and like, really, basically from like Winston, Bo Nix, Stafford, like Tua, Herbert, Love. Like, if you just want to say that's all kind of like one guy to me, like, I think they're all kind of, if you say you want to start one ahead of the other for whatever reason, I kind of went somewhat based on matchup and, talent and, other things going on in the offense. But, I can see myself rearranging that throughout the week. So again, make sure you tune in on Fridays, and we'll have it more dialed in by then. All right. So we have Mr. Magic in here saying, yo, he says it's crazy. He's sitting in the first round bye when he drafted CMC over Jamar. I mean, a lot of people drafted CMC over Jamar. You weren't the only one, but just well done, man. Good. Half the battle is drafting a good team, and you can rely on that. You got to get lucky, of course, with injuries. And if you build your team like how we do when we talk about the offseason to kind of build in and how you want to build out a roster and have that depth and things like that there. That's why I felt like I was able to make, the playoffs in 14 of my 18 leagues. Well, I played in a guillotine league. I went out the second week. Let's not talk about that. So technically 19 leagues, but so I guess you could say I'm 14-5 if you want. But yeah, as far as like, dynasty and just redraft, trying to compete, pretty much in all of them this year. But because of all the injuries, whereas last year I was sitting in a lot of like first, second, third place, places. This year is a ton of fifth and sixth places. I actually have one undefeated team. And other than that, I have another first place team on a bye. Out of the 14, only 2 first place. The rest of them are like fifth and sixth place where I had to just battle. In one league, I had to win 6 out of the last 7 games to just make it into the fifth or sixth spot, or maybe I made it all the way up to fourth. But yeah, it's the management of your team. So you can overcome making a bad first round pick, or not even making a bad one, just unforeseen circumstances and injury, just gone immediately, and still recover from it. So just play the waiver wire game, make some trades, and just never give up, man. Roll those sleeves up and just buckle down and make it happen. So good job, Mr. Magic. Good stuff there. He says he could see this be a big Debo game after all this time. I mean, anything you could say he's due. I'm just not feeling it still. Week 15, he scares me. So I kind of have him down on the rankings because I have him down at 38. I have him actually right ahead of Neighbors, which might be my other hot take this week. These are just 2 guys that we know what their ceiling's capable of, but there's so many other good matchups and guys who are playing well right now that have roles on their offense because of all the injuries, and now we have no bye weeks, that there's other guys that I just feel more comfortable with playing. I don't feel like I need to start a Debo if you don't have to, because we've by week 15 we've built so much depth. At this point, you can, if you have that right matchup and that right feeling, like there's just other guys that I just feel a little more comfortable ahead of Debo, including like if Josh Downs is active this week, I have Downs ahead of him. I have Keenan Allen ahead of him. I have Jaden Reed ahead of him, even though he just came off literally a goose egg against Seattle. I have Jacoby Myers and Zay Flowers, Mari Cooper, Hopkins, D Smith. Like these are all guys I feel just more comfortable with in my lineup over Debo or Neighbors because of just kind of how they've been playing in their situation. Now Samuel a little more ahead because he doesn't have Tommy DeVito throwing the ball to him, in an offense that has really no other weapons maybe besides Tracy. So that's what kind of puts him ahead. Again, it's still early in the week, and I might relax a little bit and maybe start pushing these guys up a little more. But as of right now, and he's dealing with the that injury, I'm just for as far as Neighbors goes, not feeling it. And then Debo, again, I like the call out, and you see the hat, man. I hope that's the case. I'm personally not feeling it right now. So it's a little tough, man. It's a little tough. All right. Let's see here. Shazabi 1999. Shazam. I hope I got that wrong. Right. I apologize. I'll just say Shah here. It says, hey man, hope you're well. Pittman, Nick Westbrook, Akine, or Amari Cooper. Pittman, I have low on this one. Cooper is farther removed from that wrist injury. Looked decent here this last game, even though Shakur kind of blew up. I do like the matchup this week. So I believe I have Cooper ahead. He's still a wide receiver 3 for me at wide receiver 32. But it is a nice matchup against Detroit. And I could see myself moving him maybe up to like 30 ahead of Devonta Smith and DeAndre Hopkins. So, or even maybe ahead of DJ Moore against Minnesota. But I'd still have guys like Addison, Waddle, Jamison Williams, Marvin Harrison, Shakir ahead of Cooper. And then Pittman, I have way down. Not feeling Pittman at all. I have Pittman at 55 and just kind of my preliminary. I mean, I'd rather play guys like Bateman and Elijah Moore and Christian Watson and Xavier Worthy and Marquez Valdez-Scantling, Josh Palmer, if McConkey's out, ahead of him. So not feeling Pittman this week. Was Nick Westbrook Akine. I told everybody I was going to put a stop to his touchdown streak last week by starting him. in my league because I knew if I just put him in there, of course, he wouldn't score after scoring like 8 touchdowns in his previous 8 games. So yeah, so of course I started him, and I already had it clinched, so I just kind of did it to stop that streak, just to see and test the fantasy gods, if you will. But yeah, of course I needed him to score, but he didn't, and so I can't go there. But I think Amari is definitely the right answer there for me. That's who I'm going with. And he's attached to Josh Allen, so that's always a good thing. The man accounted for 6 touchdowns last week. It's just crazy. All right, so Iggy's in here saying, hi, who would you start, Hawkinson or Ferguson? So Hawkinson against Chicago. You got Dallas. Who's Dallas playing? Dallas playing Carolina. Yeah, probably would lean Ferguson here a little more on this one. They're both not great options. I've seen Ferguson getting dropped in a couple leagues here, but I think Cooper Rush has been playing better. He's getting a little more comfortable. And again, Cincinnati, he did go only 3 catches for 33 yards, 6.2 points. But I mean, hey, for a tight end, that's not too bad getting 6 points. Like, if you're going to say that's a bad game. And then the matchups there at Carolina, there's nobody else to throw to besides CD. Like, if CD lands on that shoulder and gets hurt, like, he should see the target. So again, 6 targets to a tight end. Like, that's nice. You want like at least 6, potentially more, if you can go from there. Hawkinson, I mean, again, the way Addison's playing right now, the way, obviously Justin Jefferson's going to command a ton of targets there. It's just hard to find that target share. Of course, we've seen him go off with Kirk Cousins. He hasn't necessarily done that quite yet. Here with Sam Darnold, he's had a couple, big games. But yeah, for the most part, he's still seeing 5 or 6 targets. He's had the 2 games with 9 targets, one against Jacksonville and then at Chicago. So, I mean, I guess against Chicago, he did have his best game where he went 7 for 9 for 114. So, I mean, I guess, I don't think it's really a bad, way either way. You have good matchups. You see good history here. Just who do you think is going to get more targets? I think Ferguson edges that out just a smidge. But yeah, it's tight end. So just throw one of them out there, Iggy. It's tough. It's a tough position, man. Tough position. You're happy with like 8 points. You'd be good. All right. So Dim Boys, what's up, Dim Boys? He says QBs have been brutal for him, but still made the playoffs. He needs to start 2 of them, Cooper Rush, Bryce Young, or Desmond Ridder. So this one is actually pretty easy to me. I think it's Cooper Rush and Bryce Young. Bryce Young actually probably been playing the best out of the 3 at the moment. I don't trust Ridder as far as I could throw him. Definitely not in week 15. At least right now, you've seen a couple games, Rush has had under his belt, seen a couple good ones, a couple bad ones, or the one bad one, 2 good ones, whatever it is. You're the Cowboys fan. You've seen it. You've watched it. Hopefully he continues to just throw the ball to CD, use Ferguson like we were just talking about. And I've started him in the last couple weeks. So I think I started him on one of his bad games or one of his good games, or decent games, so to speak. So yeah, I mean, he's someone I felt comfortable with. You see Dowdle playing a lot better now as well too. So it's not like they could just, kind of tee off on him, so to speak. The run game, is continuing to help him out. And yeah, I'm just not feeling Ridder. So yeah, give me Rush and Young. All right, JH says, weird question. I love when questions start out this way. So he says, weird D question as well. Should I roll with Green Bay versus New Orleans in week 16, Los Angeles Chargers versus New England in week 17, or just drop both for Indy, who gets Tennessee and the Giants in 16 and 17? Yeah, so none of those are like totally crazy. Like, obviously the Green Bay should be good if it's like Hainer or Spencer Rattler, starting. But Derek Carr might still start. So if that's the case, if he might almost be ready to go this week, and he ends up playing like next week, it's his non-throwing hand. Like, yeah, there might be other things, maybe get a fumble or something just with him not being able to get the snap or whatever. But it makes you a little less excited there. I like the Chargers against, anyone really playing New England against 17. Tennessee, Levis and Pollard, like they've been kind of putting up, decent numbers. I mean, Levis going to throw a pick probably for sure. Indy defense not really that great. They're kind of a defense we target with our offensive players. But yeah, I mean, given the matchups, I don't think any of these defenses are like overpowered or have like some crazy matchups, as far as like really good defense against a terrible offense. So honestly, like if you don't want to be just making the moves every week, like you could probably just grab the Indy defense if you feel comfortable with that. Roll them out against Tennessee. I'm not sure what they scored against them in your scoring. Last time they played, I believe they played already, or maybe they have 16 and 18 or something like that. I mean, the Giants matchup should be good either way. And then that allows you to open up another roster spot and grab, someone else. So I kind of like the idea of that overall in general. So yeah, so there you go. GH said it's Yahoo and sleeper scoring. You can set your scoring either way, so I don't think that makes too much of a difference for those guys. All right, Perry was in the house. What's up, Perry? How you doing? Says Winston over Hurts given the matchup. I'm not quite there. not trying to get that crazy. Not like my crazy neighbors take here at wide receiver 39. Hurts. Everyone's saying he's playing bad, man, but he's still been good for fantasy. I mean, yeah, he hasn't had the throwing numbers, but you don't need the throwing numbers, especially if I don't know if it's 4 or 6 point passing touchdown here, but if it's 4 point, I'm for sure going Hurts. I mean, yeah, Winston can go crazy and score you like 30 or 40, but Hurts has such a great floor, and if he ever gets like if Pittsburgh does push them for whatever reason, just because it is Mike Tomlin and it's a well-coached team and they do have a good defense on that side, and they maybe get behind early and he does need to throw. He does have AJ Brown. He does have a healthy Devonta Smith. Like those guys are there. Yeah, there's no Goddard, but Calcaterra has been, pretty decent when called upon. And obviously Barkley out of the backfield's, weapon as well. And that's always there. So let's say Pittsburgh, stops him on a couple of those tush pushes or something like that, then maybe they try to, throw it in. So I'm still going Hurts over Winston. I have Hurts as my QB4 this week, but I do have Winston as a QB1, but at QB12 going up against Kansas City. So there you go. Raven says, I don't have any questions this week. I think he's flexing because he has a bye. He says, would you drop Amari Cooper for McCormick? I mean, the question is, do you need a running back? Like, because if you need a running back, like if you started Zach Charbonnet this week and, Ken Walker ends up coming back, then yeah, you can drop Cooper. I prefer not to drop Amari Cooper, more so just because I don't want to give him to anybody else for free. Make sure you're not holding the second tight end first. I mean, unless it's like Bowers and Kelsey or something, like you don't want to hold 2 tight ends, and make sure you're not holding 2 defenses. Like I don't care what your matchups or whatever are. Yeah, you want to think ahead, but you got to win this week as well too. And so, yeah, with that said, I mean, I think McCormick's definitely worth rostering. I picked him up actually in several places, and I'm not the biggest Raiders fan or a fan of that offense, but he has been running well, and he's been putting up, or has an opportunity to put up some points, and sometimes you just need a running back. But without any bye weeks this week, and kind of it's playoff time, and no real major more injuries that have kind of happened over the last couple of weeks, besides like McCaffrey, we've kind of had a chance to recover from that. You're pretty much starting your studs. But yeah, I mean, if you did have McCaffrey or someone go down, and you had Jordan Mason and McCaffrey and they both go down, and you weren't able to get, Grindo or Patrick Taylor, and you're staring down McCormick or Amari Cooper, then, you have to go get McCormick. So, or even if you don't have like an RB3 and you feel comfortable with your wide receivers, barring any injury, then yeah, you want to go grab someone like that, because you can find, I'm sure, a similar type wide receiver that can have some upside that Cooper can, maybe not as high as Cooper can get to, but like that can get to his average, like a Nick Westbrook-Akine, I'm sure might be out there. You can find guys like that versus a running back who's going to get, 15 touches a game. So hopefully that made sense for you there. So there you go. Iggy says one more, Addison or Reed. I feel like I'm done with Reed. I mean, yeah, if you're going to play the kind of the hot hand, obviously you have a guy that just came off like a career day, 3 touchdowns, 172 or no, I think it was Jefferson, like 133 yards or something like that. 3 touchdowns versus the guy who's coming off of a goose egg. I can't sit here and tell you or make a good argument as to why you should play Reed over Addison at this point, based on what we've seen lately out of the two of them. And again, with no injury, I mean, and Dobbs potentially coming back here as well. We've seen Christian Watson get, I think, 9 targets in this last game, one of his highest, target shares of the year. I mean, I have Jaden Reed at 35 this week, and I have Addison at 26. So I have Addison over Reed this week, and yeah. And I might even drop him a little lower. Like, I'm thinking I might even feel a little more comfortable with Keenan Allen or Josh Downs if he's active ahead of Reed. And then it comes down. Reed is in that like same neighborhood to me of it's Jaden Reed, Deebo Samuels, Malik Neighbors, Calvin Ridley. Like those 4 guys are just kind of all in their like own weird group of their own where they're good talent, and we know what their potential is. There's just some bad situations or juju going on, and you kind of just don't want anything to do with it at the moment because it's unpredictable. So in fantasy, we like to be able to predict things, and both of these guys are kind of unpredictable. People were dropping Addison just a few weeks ago, so funny game we play. All right, I don't know if I answered your question, but let me know if I did or not. All right, so we got Raven Show asking, or he says, yeah, I don't have any questions this week. Starting his studs, keep it simple, stupid mentality. I love it. Looking forward to the Listener League review. All right, so he's just trying to hurry everybody up because he wants to hear about how he's in first place in the Listener League. So we know where you're coming from, Ravens. I got you. All right, we got Perry in the house saying Broncos, Chiefs, or Bengals defense this week. Definitely not Bengals. I don't even care who they're playing. Broncos are a little weird situation. I'm trying to go back and forth over who I want to play this week, either the Tennessee defense or the Broncos defense. Chiefs, who do the Chiefs get this week? I was just talking about it. Kansas City. Why am I drawing a blank? Oh, because I'm on week 1. We got to get to week 15. All right, so Chiefs Browns going to get up against Jameis. Yeah, he's going to throw a pick 6. So yeah, I'll go Chiefs defense on this one. I think they have the greatest chance of getting a pick 6, scoring a touchdown in this game. Not a fumble, like a pick 6, or at least getting two picks. So, yeah, there you go. All right, we got Eric Serrano in the house. What's up, Eric? How's it going, man? He says, how's it going tonight, everyone? Not even just me. He says, are my playoff contenders in the house? I believe we are. That's why we're here watching, man. So, yeah. Looks like he says last spot, underdog. Underdog in my league playoffs right here. Oh, there you go. Let's see. The roll says, can we get Dynasty's super flex mock up in here with kickers as picks? The roll. We will have plenty of drafts for you to do, man, this entire off season. So make sure you hang out, chill out with us. I think I mentioned it earlier. I'll do it again. We do a mock draft tournament in the off season. It's a ton of fun. You sign up for your mock drafts every week, and you come in, show up for the draft your team. The Get Right crew ranks them, and it's a consensus. The top 3 move on to the Friday night live stream mock, and then the top 3 from there make it to the finale, and then we repeat that for 4 weeks so that we get 12 total, top 3 for 4 different weeks. So 12 people, and we drop them into a best ball draft, and we will, if we have time here tonight, preview that and let you know how we're looking like those guys heading into the playoffs. So yes, and then we absolutely do dynasty startups, and I'm sure Kendall and Phil over on the Extra Point and the Fantasy Football Tavern will be doing a ton of dynasty drafts, mock drafts, as well as they have startup leagues as well too. So auction, snake, whatever your vice, you can find it here on Get Right Fantasy Network. All right, so let me. Ooh, did I freeze up here? There we go. All right, so I think I'm back. All right, so we got Neanderthal. What's up, Neanderthal in the house? Little behind. I'm like still 20 minutes behind on the questions, but in the chat, but keep them coming, guys. As you guys know, I like to give you my time when I'm answering your stuff, not just fly through it. But Neanderthal says start 2 receivers, 2 running backs, and 2 flex. Chase, Evans, Justin Jefferson, McLaurin, Shakir, Henry, Mixon, Kyren, Gibbs, Demont. Sorry, but you said ask anything, so it is a Ask Me Anything show. Shout out to Neanderthal, man. He's one of 4 left in our Guillotine League. So this is his Guillotine League team. And this is where it gets tough, man, because when you get down to the final 4, it's basically 4 people that have access to the entire league. So there's guys on waivers that are just sitting there that they don't even have to pay fab for. They can just swap out at any time. It's almost like a DFS, type feel, because you're just putting these stack lineups together, but it's like the elite of the elite. So you need to pick which 2. So if 2 receivers, I'm going Chase and Justin Jefferson. Give me those 2 for sure. Out of my 2 running backs, I think I have to go King Henry in this one. Going up against the Giants, and I think he finally broke his rushing touchdown streak or something like that right before the bye. So they're going to try to get him in the end zone. There should be plenty of that. And then it's tough because I want to say, let me see what my rankings say, but I want to say Mixon. It's hard to get away from him. He just has that potential for a 3 touchdown game. Kyren gives you a nice floor, and then Gibbs and Demont, like you can't go bad with either of those guys anyway. You're literally just listing my entire starting guys. So right now I have Henry as my 101 or my RB1 this week. I have Saquon Barkley next, then Bijan, then Joe Mixon at 4 right now. I actually have Chase Brown. I like him against Tennessee here at 5. Probably getting a little excited there. I'll have to move that down, but we'll see. I do have Gibbs at 8, Chub at 9, Kyren at 10, Demont at 11. So I guess if you went in the order here, it would be Henry and Mixon is who I would have for my 2 running backs. So you got Chase, Justin Jefferson, Henry, Mixon, and then now you need 2 flex. So this is where it gets interesting. It is full PPR. I know that because I set the league up. I think Shakir's not on the level of these guys. McLaurin's close. I think I fill those 2 running back spots with. I think you fill it with, those 2 flex spots with running backs. I think I go Gibbs and Demont, man. I would just start the tandem of that backfield against Buffalo. I think Buffalo's third most points allowed at running back position here all year. Let me double check here. Yeah, so 3rd most points to the running back. I might have said second, but 3rd most points to the running back position this year. We've had, people just have crazy games on them as far as running backs go. I know they did just get Milano back, though. But I might go Gibbs and Demont, man. It's going to be a shootout. They're going to have to put up points. They're at home. So, give me Gibbs and Demont there. So, I'm sitting in that case, I'd be sitting Kyren. I'm sitting McLaurin, and I'm sitting Shakir, and I'm sitting Evans. That's crazy. But, so good stuff, man. Hopefully it works. We'll see what you end up setting up this week. But, that's good stuff, man. I love the Guillotine League. I can't wait to do it again next year. All right, so we got Nino in the house saying, Rasta, what's up, man? How you doing, Nino? Good to have you, my guy. He says, needing some help setting damn near his whole lineup for the playoff week. So let's roll our sleeves up and get into it, man. So he says Baker or Herbert and Laporta or Mark Andrews. So I have Baker over Herbert this week, and Mark Andrews scares me a little bit because like it could just be literally a King Henry game and they may not really have to throw, but I feel like if they do throw, like it's probably going to be Andrews again. We've seen him take his some of the target share back. He's scored I think in 3 of the last 4 games or something like that. Laporta we finally saw have kind of like 2 out of the last 3 games were decent. Got Jameson Williams back over there now. I'm on Raw, Demont. I mean, you got a lot of guys there. Yeah, that's a tough one. That is a tough one. But, I mean, they are going up against Buffalo. Buffalo likes to play that too high. They don't really have the big plays. Maybe they allow Laporta to work underneath. I might have Laporta higher this week. Let me actually go to my rankings and see where I'm at. But I'm pretty sure I'm close on those guys. So let's see. Yeah, so I have them basically back to back. I have Laporta at 8 and Andrews at 9. And I think that was the tiebreaker for me was the fact that just the fact that the Baltimore game could just get out of hand and they could just run it. Like, I don't think the Giants can really put up a fight for the need to put points on the board. Whereas Buffalo, that's going to probably be a 35-33, type game. So I just think there's more chance at scoring touchdowns in that game. So I'll take Laporta. Excuse me. I'll take Laporta, but it's close. All right. So we got Keith in here saying already starting Achane and Tyreek. Who to flex? Shakir, Garindo, or Patrick Taylor, depending on who starts. Waddle, Thielen, Swift, Adunze, and Gus. It's a 10-man full PPR. So you're already starting Achane and Tyreek. I do like Shakir this week. Again, going up against Detroit, who I think have allowed the 3rd or 4th most points allowed to the wide receiver position. Let's see. Go to wide receiver here. So yeah, they're at 4th now. Over the last 3 weeks, I think they've done actually a little better. So yeah, 14th most points allowed over the last 3 weeks. But yeah, overall for this season, they're at 4. It's a good matchup. Teams have to throw against them. They have a lot of injuries going on the defensive side right now. So, I mean, I really like Shakir this week. And then I think I have Shakir and Waddle kind of in that same tier, kind of back to back. Thielen's been playing, really well. It's just hard for me to play a Panther in the playoffs, I mean, maybe he helped get you there. If you just picked him off the waiver wire, like the worst thing I would feel like is if I just picked someone up off the waiver wire and played them over a guy who was, doing decent for me, all year, and you lose because of that. So again, you just have to be okay with losing that way if you're going to make a bold move like that. If it's Garindo, I think he's the easy play over here. I just don't like the fact that he's injured anyway. Like if he wasn't injured coming into this game at all, he would be the easy flex. You're probably not even asking the question, or maybe it's just between Shakir and Garindo. I don't like Patrick Taylor as much. I did pick him up in a couple spots, but I'd like to see a game first possibly with him, but that's all maybe that he's going to get. So it's really just kind of, you don't know what to expect. Are they going to work in Izzy Abanikanda? Are they going to work in Keyshawn Vaughn? who's probably the one who knows the playbook the best since he was, started with the team earlier in the year. So I don't, I kind of want to stay away from Pat Taylor if Garindo ends up being out. Waddle again's been playing really well lately. But you're already starting Achane and Tyreek. I don't know if I put all my eggs in that basket. So yeah, it comes down to me between Shakir and Thielen. I'm not starting any of those other guys there. The Chicago guys are Gus. But yeah, I do like Shakir. I do like Shakir over Thielen this week. Again, is he going to score 51-yard touchdown again? Probably not, but just in a full PPR. In a full PPR. I mean, but it is close. So I have Shakir at 23, and I have Thielen at 29. So, yeah, there's only a couple guys in between, and I have Waddle at 27. So I actually kind of have Shakir well more ahead than Waddle and Thielen, who I just have DJ Moore in between. So there you go. All right. So hopefully that helps you out there, Keith. Or maybe it confuses you more, but happy you brought it here so we could talk it out. All right, so we've got Nino saying then you'll need 2 wide receivers, 2 flex. So who are we sitting between CD, AJ Brown, Cup, Ladd, James Conner? I mean, Ladd's dealing with a knee and a shoulder, so it's kind of easy to get away from him, even if he is active when you have, good options like this. I don't think you really get rid of Cup. He pretty much tortures San Francisco all the time. We cannot figure out how to stop him. And here we go with this AJ Brown, thing again, based on, how I've been playing, lately. CeeDee Lamb's kind of banged up with the shoulder too. So if you want to kind of look at it, as, at least just start the guys who aren't hurt kind of coming into the game, AJ Brown and Cup. But of course you could see CD having, a big game, and I do have him ranked the highest at 7 going up against Carolina. So, it's that's a tough one there. But yeah, 2 wide receiver, 2 flex. So I'm gonna go those 2 guys there. Do you want to get Connor in there at a flex spot? He's not really used in the passing game as much. I mean, you're probably sitting Ladd. I think he's the most questionable out of all these guys. And again, he could re-injure either injury. CD probably has the highest chance for re-injury, but also probably your highest ceiling. So you want to leave him in there. So yeah, if I'm sitting one out of these guys, unfortunately, it's probably going to be Ladd. And I have him at 20, against Tampa Bay. It's a really good matchup. If he's fully healthy or if he practices in full these next 2 weeks, he started out limited, but he did the same thing last week. So these next 2 weeks, these next 2 days are going to be really important. So, I know you'll be here on Friday, man. So come ask me and Phil on Friday, and we'll go from there. All right. So Eric said, help this underdog, 2 running backs, 2 wide receivers, 1 flex, 12-team PPR, Bijan, Chubb, Stevenson, Charbonnet, Pacheco, Tank Dell, Mooney, Devontae Adams, Dobbs. Let's go. So you need 2 running backs, 2 wide receivers, and 1 flex out of these guys, or I think that's what he's saying. All right. So 2, and he's the underdog in the matchup. So 2 running backs first. So we're going to go Bijan. If Ken Walker does not play, then it's Bijan and Charbonnet. Pretty easily for me there. If Ken Walker does play, then it's Bijan and Pacheco for me. If we're going to go to the 2 wide receivers, I think I'm going to go Devontae Adams and Darnell Mooney. And then if I have to pick a flex, it's either going to be Pacheco if Ken Walker plays because you're already starting Charbonnet, or if you're starting Pacheco because Ken Walker is playing, then I'm going to start Stevenson. So basically I'm sitting Chubb and Tank Dell and Mooney in all scenarios. And then the difference is if Ken Walker plays or not, depending on who you're playing out of Pacheco and Stevenson. So, oh yeah, and I'm sitting Dobbs too. So coming off that concussion. So there we go. All right, so we got Roberto Perez in the house saying, what's up? T or JMO in a potential shootout. You also asked Chase. So you're definitely playing Chase, and I appreciate that because obviously T. Higgins, do you want to put all your eggs in that basket. Jamar Chase I have as my number one here, and going up against Tennessee this week. T could have a bounce back game in this one, but Joe Burrow trying to get Jamar Chase that triple crown. But I have T Higgins at 14, and I have Jamison Williams at 25. It's just, do you want to put your eggs all in that basket? So I've won a championship before, I think 2 years ago, 2 or 3 years ago with with Chase and Higgins. I think it was Chase's rookie year. I had the two of them because I drafted Higgins early because remember everybody thought he was going to go crazy that year, and nobody thought Jamar Chase could catch a football because the lines on the ball and how it spins or whatever it was. So I was able to get Jamar Chase in the 7th round after picking up T Higgins in like the 4th. So needless to say, I took that one home that year. So yeah, I mean, I'm not against playing the two of them, and Joe Burrow's hot. I have him as like my QB4 this week or QB2 or something crazy like that. They're just on a tear right now, that entire offense, and they're just trying to play better. Yeah, but like I said, J-Mo in that shootout against Buffalo could be crazy. The only thing that worries me about J-Mo and why I actually have him down at 29 or 25, I'm sorry, is because I mentioned it earlier, but Buffalo plays that too high. They don't give up the big play. Like, they'll let you get stuff underneath. Now, J-Mo has expanded his route tree this year, and I've liked to see the in-breaking routes that he's been running this year. And of course, he still has the ability to get over the top, at any time. But there's just, there's a lot of weapons there. I mean, he's still been pretty decent. And I mean, T Higgins has only had one really kind of bad game since he's been back healthy again. So I'm kind of leaning T over J-Mo still. And again, that's how I have it ranked. And it's a pretty big difference, actually. Again, it's not my final rankings here this week. It is just Wednesday. But for the most part, I still think I'm going to lean T, even though you have Chase. And I'm just going to put my eggs in that Bengals basket against a good matchup in Tennessee. So, and are they at home? No, they're at Tennessee. So I would like it better if they're at home. I don't know. Maybe they play better on the road. I don't know. All right. So good stuff. So hopefully that helps you out, Roberto. But yeah, come back with us on Friday, and we could talk it out with Phil too. The Bills Bunker in the house saying, "What up? I'm here to support other sports content creators." And he just let's go, Bills Bunker. Let me return the favor. And anyone here in the chat, man, let's go to the Bills Bunker. I mean, we might not all be Bills fans here, but we appreciate content creators. So yeah, Bills Bunker actually hit me. I don't know if I can bring it up here real quick while I'm in the middle of the show. But shoot me, leave a comment on the video, maybe when we're done, or shoot me something on Sleeper or Twitter. And shoot me your link if you have a channel there. And I'd love to support you as well, man. Appreciate the subscribe. Again, it doesn't cost anybody anything to hit that subscribe button. And for us content creators, man, that's what we literally every day checking to see, how many new subs we get. It makes a big difference for us here. So, yeah, hitting those like and subscribe buttons for us, leaving comments, leaving your chats, that all helps with the YouTube algorithm to help the channel grow. So again, really appreciate that, my guy. All right, so we got Perry in the house saying, "I'm holding 3 tight ends, and it feels weird, as it should." Bowers, McBride, Jonnu. Jonnu's an easy drop. I mean, we're all hoping. I mean, McBride hasn't scored a receiving touchdown all year. Wouldn't it be great if he just had weeks 15, 16, 17 with 2 touchdowns each week? Let's make that happen. So, I mean, unless I'm playing against them, but I do have them in several places and in best ball. So I'd love for that to happen. But yeah, you definitely don't want to be starting 3. So I would at least reduce it down to 2 and go with Jonnu, just go ahead and drop Jonnu. I mean, he did come off a bad game right now. So maybe people aren't in a hurry to go pick him up. So maybe you can get away with it for a week. But Bowers and McBride, I could see why, maybe if you're a little shy with Bowers, depending on who the quarterback's going to be, O'Connell dealing with that, knee bruise or bone bruise or whatever it was. And maybe it's Desmond Ridder this week, which doesn't make you feel good either. But I mean, he's really the only target there besides Myers. And, McBride, he's getting the targets. He's just not finding the end zone. So if we can get some just regression to the mean on the touchdowns with McBride, he's the easy one I'm starting at all those guys. So yeah, definitely don't hold 3 tight ends though. I don't recommend that. I don't recommend it. All right. So Nina says, appreciate it as always, Rasta. Of course, man. That's what I'm here for, my guy. I appreciate you as always coming and hanging out in the stream with us here, man. So really appreciate it. We got Joe Kingsley in the house saying, I feel like I need to start Purdy over Darnold and Stafford simply because of the matchups. What do you think? So Purdy over Darnold and Stafford because of the matchups. I mean, I don't hate it. We've seen, what Purdy has been able to do. Let me see where I have them ranked because I had pretty high in my initial rankings, and I think I had to kind of push him down just a smidge. But he's still QB1 for me. So yeah, I have Darnold at 7 just because they lit up Chicago the last time they played his division game. Addison went for 30 points that game as well too. I have Patrick Mahomes right in between them, going up against Cleveland because that could be a potential shootout as well. And then I have Brock at 9. Stafford I have at 14 just because he doesn't have any type of rushing out upside. And yeah, he has Puka and Cup and all that. Maybe I can see moving him up, maybe even ahead of Winston or maybe Baker. I wanted to have him higher, but as I started kind of putting it together, he kind of fell in at 14 for me. So maybe it's not that big of a gap. But I do have Darnold slightly ahead of Purdy this week. But again, if you want to play more that matchup game, I mean, I can see how and why you may want to go that route. And again, I don't want to seem too biased here, wearing this hat. So, I mean, yeah, I'm going to go see what he did a couple weeks ago against Chicago. So against Chicago, he put up 22 completions on 34 attempts for 330 yards, 2 touchdowns, no picks. He was sacked 3 times, so if they clean that up a little bit, they might actually have an even better day. But yeah, I mean, 300 yards. That was his first 300-yard game of the year. And now in his highest yardage game until he just played Atlanta, where he went for 347 and 5 touchdowns. So to me, Stafford's the easy one to play Purdy over. The harder one for me is Darnold. And I think, and especially I don't like to play my own guys because if they cost me a championship, I don't want to be mad at my own players. Something totally personal and just how I play fantasy football. I know this doesn't work for you because you may or may not be a fan, Joe. But I'd rather just start Darnold because then if he does let me down, I could just be pissed off at him and I'm okay. But yeah, so we're still people here, man. I still analyze things, but sometimes you make these decisions with your heart, sometimes over your head. But yeah, so hopefully you know where I'm coming from with that. But I like the Darnold matchup this week, which is why I had him edged out over Purdy. I guess I should do Purdy the same justice and see what he did against the Rams earlier in the year. I'm pretty sure we lost that game because we just never beat the Rams. Was that week 3 or 4? So yeah, so Purdy week 3 against the Rams, he went 22 for 30, 292 and 3 touchdowns that game. And he had 10 carries for 41 yards, but he did lose a fumble in that game. So yeah, Purdy gives you that rushing upside, which is why I still have him at 9. And he had him by a touchdown last time. So yeah, I mean, should be a nice game. 24-27. There will be points. Yeah, I mean, again, I don't think you can go wrong either way, man. I don't think you can go wrong either way. They should be within a few points of each other. Obviously, you want to get the guy who scores, even if it is just a few more points, because sometimes that's all you need. All right, so hopefully that helps you out, Joe, and just make sure you come back on Friday, and I'll try to help you out a little better, see where my rankings kind of settle in a little more by then. We got Jay Silva asking full PPRs. Kamara startable this week. Of course, out. His other running backs are Jonathan Taylor, Najee, and Tyrone Tracy. The 3 weeks that Carr was out earlier in the season, Kamara scored 17, 8, and 18. And I think he scored the 17 and 8 with, I think he scored the 17 with Hayner, and then he scored the 8 and 18 with Rattler, I believe. Not quite sure on that one, but I know they switched to Rattler. I don't know if it was the Rattler had the two. I'm pretty sure Hayner was just for the one game, and then they went to Rattler for the next two. So you kind of have, you know, a little bit. I don't know. I don't think he's not startable. He's just. I think I have him outside. I have him outside of my top 12 this week, where normally he's pretty much a QB1, or I'm sorry, RB1 every week. But yeah, Kamara, he's at QB6 or RB. I don't know. I keep doing that. RB16 for me this week. Again, he is a little banged up. Again, if Carr doesn't play, you know, and even when he has been playing lately, they haven't really been checking down to him as much. And then, you know, we saw Kendre Miller come back off IR, and they've had the coaching change. So are they going to look to, you know, Miller to have that kind of goal line roll over Kamara? So there's a lot of question marks, which is why I dropped him down this week. But the question is do I have Tyrone Tracy Jr. or Najee Harris ahead of him, even with all that said? And the answer is no. I have Tyrone Tracy at 24 and Najee having back-to-back at 25 right now. So still, of the three, I would still take my chances with Kamara in full PPR, even with Carr out. Might be a little. I might drop Kamara a little closer, but I don't think I can find myself moving Tracy or Najee up. Maybe one spot. The both of them is the closest they would move up, and that would be as if I move from Andre Stevenson down. So there we go. And then Jonathan Taylor, I actually have at 18 behind Kamara this week because he is playing Denver, but they've been a little more gettable on the ground. So lately. All right. So his other team, pick one. Hold on. Pick one wide receiver, one flex. He has Mike Evans, Jerry Jeudy, Tyrone Tracy, and Gurindo. So for the one wide receiver out of Evans or Jeudy, I'm going to go Evans, especially if Tillman comes back. Jeudy might see a dip in those targets, and we don't know who McDuffie is going to cover. So that could be interesting too, whether he goes over Tillman or Jeudy. They're playing the Chiefs, right? Cleveland. Yeah, Cleveland playing the Chiefs. Yeah. So Mike Evans is my wide receiver one, and then my flex. I don't like the Tyrone Tracy versus Baltimore. You know, tough defense, run defense, one of the top rushing defenses. They're more of a pass funnel offense. I would like the Gurindo matchup, but I just don't like that he's banged up, even if he is active. So I'm going to take them two out of it. So yeah, if it's full PPR, then I'll go Evans and Jeudy in that one. So that's where I'd go with the two wide receivers over the running back. He says full PPR, pick one wide receiver and a flex. Oh, that was the same one. All right, we just did that one. Where can I sign up for the draft tournament? And is there a buy-in? So a good question. We were talking about that mock draft tournament earlier. It is free. So it's free to enter. You can only enter one qualifying mock per week. So we run that Monday through Thursday. So you can sign up for your day and time. We post them in our sleeper chat, which is in the description. So if you go to the description, the very top paragraph says join our sleeper community here by using this link. So go to that link, join that community. That's where we post the mock draft tournament lobbies that you can enter into. We do have our ambassadors that monitor that for us. And then, I'm typically the one running those mocks. And so, yeah, you just draft your team, no buy-in, and but there is a chance to win $50 cash. So not only that, you're going to be mocking against, a ton of sharp drafters. So it's really going to get you dialed in for your home league drafts when those start popping off. Plus, it's just a ton of fun. It's something to look forward through, throughout the week. Like, oh, I got to be there Tuesday at 6:00. And then if I advance, you're waiting the next day to see if you advance. And if you do advance, you get the golden ticket. I don't know if we still have that up here. Oh, I don't Oh, we deleted it. All right. Well, we have a golden ticket that we send out when you advance, and then you come back and join us on Friday nights for the Friday night mocks and do the semifinal round, and then hopefully place top 3 there and advance to the final. So come check it out. It's a lot of fun, and just make sure you stay in touch with me. Let me know your sleeper handle. It's all run on sleeper. And DM me at Rastafarn and say, hey, I want to get in the mock draft tournament. So I'll make sure to put you on the list and always send the invites out. So, and that goes for anyone else. Hit me up. All right. So Chandler saying Flex Debo, Pacheco, Garindo, Thielen, JMO. It's PPR 6-point passing touchdown. So what's up, Chandler? First and foremost, great to have you back, man. He says, so if we're flexing one of these guys, Thielen seems like the safest. It's going to be between Thielen and JMO. Like I said, the only thing why I'm a little more down on JMO this week is just going up against the Bills defense. Not that they're crazy. It's just the type of defense they run with that too high shell. They usually just don't give up the big plays. And that's kind of what, that's what, why you play JMO. So because of that, he dropped down into that wide receiver 3, high end wide receiver 3 for me. At wide receiver 25. Whereas Thielen, although he's been playing, well too, does have a better matchup here with Dallas, but obviously it is Bryce Young and not, Jared Goff throwing the ball. So I do have him down at 29, but I could see myself eventually by the end of the week, maybe getting Thielen there a little higher. I keep looking at the stats. I've been watching some tape. And it's just, I feel like at any moment he could just turn into a pumpkin and into like a 34-year-old receiver, that he is. And I'd hate for that to happen in week 15 of my playoffs, especially when we have an option like Jameson Williams. So I'm still probably going Jameson Williams, but, we'll see how it is on Friday, Chandler. So just come back on Friday, man, and we'll see where it dials in. So there it is. All right. So Dim Boys. Oh, there we go. See, and that's why Dim Boys is the ambassador extraordinaire. This is why he's one of our original subscribers, man, from when we first started, 3-4 years ago. This is why he's here, man. So he said, yeah, show them some love. Throw the Bills bunker some love over there. Let them know you came from Get Right. And there we go. So, and he said he shot me the link in Sleeper. So appreciate that. And the Bills bunker, I'll go hop on and throw a subscribe over to you guys as well. And maybe we can link up. It'd be nice to get some Bills perspective because I like a lot of players on their team. So it'd be nice to get some perspective from there. So let's have a nice little talk. All right. So Keith's back. He's saying need 2: Jennings, Metcalf, Evans, AJ Brown, St. Brown, Cup, Rico Dowdle. It's a 10-man PPR. And you only need 2 out of this list. Damn, this is tough, bro. I think you have to go Amon-Ra St. Brown and Cooper Kupp in this one. I just think, combined upsides, ceiling, floor, they have the total package. I mean, I could easily see any of these other guys, of course, going off. Maybe Rico as the, has the matchup plus, being the running back, maybe has a safer floor than any of these guys. But to me, again, you spent your first round pick on St. Brown. I think Cup against San Francisco is just a lock for like 15 plus points. I don't think he's really had anything less playing against them. And AJ Brown's kind of just been, suffering, so to speak. Just again, the upside is limited based on the type of offense and efficiency that they're running. And Mike Evans a little banged up, and coming off a somewhat bad game. Metcalf still hasn't gotten right after that knee, that MCL sprain that he suffered. But he's still getting the, target share. So he's, ready to explode any moment. And Jawan Jennings, is my guy. He should have a big game against them as well. But yeah, if I'm choosing out of these guys and I can only choose 2, probably going to go St. Brown and Cup, man. But that's a tough choice, bro. That's a tough choice. All right. So Joe said, thanks for the QB insight. Do I finally start Pacheco and leave Najee on the bench? Bro, I didn't even draft Najee. So that's my answer. I feel good where they've had Pacheco coming back right now. He's been working back into it. We were kind of worried it was going to be a split, but it only took them 2 games for him to really start kind of taking over, and I expect him to do even more. The only thing you kind of worry about in this game, do they let Hunt score against, Cleveland, being a little revenge game if you want to look at it, that way. But for the most part, man, I'm going to go with Pacheco, man. He just seems a lock for a touchdown. We've seen, if Hunt could do it, he could do it. And again, we've liked, what we've seen with him coming back. He's not running scared. He's still running with that, ferocity, if that's even a word. But yeah, he just like what the guy's all about. And I did get him back on my 14-0 team. Still somehow went 14-0 without him. I mean, it's a dynasty league, so I know how I did it. The rest of my team's pretty stacked, but definitely feels better getting him back, even though I lost McCaffrey. So started the year with those two. Basically, McCaffrey didn't play all year. Pacheco basically didn't play all year either. Still somehow went 14-0. So it's good stuff. I had to sell all my picks like through 2027. I don't have any picks between now and 2027. So sold my soul for a championship this year. We'll see if it happens. Probably going to be out as soon as I play again next week. So is what it is. All right. Jay Silva says, thanks for the breakdown. Appreciate you giving your reasoning and not just saying an answer. So yeah, man, that's just kind of how we do it here on the channel. I know some people like to just, go quickly on it, but, I like to talk it out for you guys, let you know kind of what I'm thinking, how I'm thinking, because ultimately I want you guys to make the decision. I'm not going to take the credit or just say, oh, you should start this guy because of this. I like to talk it out and give you the reasons why I rank him where I have him rank, and what those decisions and deciding factors were for me. And if they're in line with you, then great. If they're not, and you want to adjust, based on what I'm mentioning, if you happen to not think about it that way or from that perspective, that's what we're here for, man, to think it out and yeah, hopefully lead you guys to some championships, man. So good luck, and yeah, again, come back on Friday and I'll have hopefully a better idea. We got Scott White in the house saying a deep PPR league. Do we like Booty, Bourne, or Tim Patrick? So Tim Patrick's the interesting name on this one, obviously coming off the 2-touchdown game. But I like what I've seen out of Booty. And then, of course, I think Bourne scored the touchdown last time, right before the bye. We kind of like seeing what Booty was going on there. If I had to start those guys, I don't even think I do my rankings out, that far. But I mean, yeah, let me look these guys up, man, because this is deep. I know I have Booty stashed I think I finally dropped him. I had him stashed on a league, on a dynasty team in my taxi for a while. And Bourne actually I had on the same team, but I moved off of him. And of course, I'm familiar with him being an ex-Niner. So let's see. So Bourne has played. So week 11, he had his big game, 18 points, 5 for 5 for 17 to touchdown. Since then, he's only had 3 catches in each game, 5 targets, and then 3 targets, 3 for 3 respectively here last week against Indy. Or I'm sorry, the week before against Indy before going on the bye. Like to see the snap share increasing 47, 59, and then 64. He didn't play against Chicago, but prior to that, he was playing almost 60 to 80% of the snaps, but wasn't really doing much with it. Now that he's come back, of course, it is. I almost said Mac Jones, but Drake May throwing the ball now. Again, not seeing crazy targets, but looking like a decent 6 or 8.6, 7, 8 point floor. So again, gets Arizona at Arizona, controlled environment. Arizona could be hit or miss. You just kind of never know. And if they do jump out, they'll most likely be playing from behind just because New England defense isn't great. So yeah, Bourne seems interesting. And then yeah, Booty is just more up and down, a little more inconsistent, and doesn't have that big 70-yard touchdown type game. He is consistently seeing about 6 targets a game though. He's basically had 6 targets a game since week 8 from week 6 through 13, with only 1 game in there, week 12 against Miami, where he only saw 4 targets. So it looks like Bourne's going to be the guy you want to play if you need a little more upside. But if you're looking for someone who's maybe just going to get the targets, may not have the yardage, to back it up, or maybe the touchdown. Again, he's 5'11", 197, so not that big of a guy, versus, KJ Bourne, who's 6'1", 205, in the red zone. Plus they have Hunter Henry there as well too. I think I like them a little more than Tim Patrick just because there's so many other mouths. I had to be careful there. So many other mouths to feed there in Detroit. I think I'm gonna lean with Kendrick Bourne. If you had to roll with somebody there. So yeah, it took me a while to get there, Scott, but there's my process and there's my decision. So hopefully that works out. Sutton or Shakir, that's a tough one, man, because I easily want to say Shakir, but on Monday's show, someone took a little deep dive there into Sutton and what he's been doing, man. He's basically wide receiver 1 this year. Hard to get away from him, so I think you got to go with him. Decent matchup this week. Again, Bo Nix playing well, and he's commanding targets. Hasn't had a single-digit game since New Orleans, where he got blinked out after playing 86% of the snaps, no targets, no points. But then prior to that, besides the first 2 weeks of the year, which you can kind of throw out, I guess, with a rookie quarterback, but basically since week 3 on, besides that goose egg too, a lot of stipulations here, but besides the goose egg in week 7, since week 3, he's only had one single digit game, and a lot of them are like 15, 16, 17, 18, and then up to 30 points that he scored. So he's shown that ceiling. Again, gets Indy, nice matchup. Even with how well Shakir's playing, Josh Allen's going to run for some. Josh Allen will throw the ball to anybody else. He don't care. Whereas Bo Nix kind of targeting in on Sutton. He's the only one. So I'm going to go Sutton over Shakir, and I'm pretty sure my rankings will say the same thing. So so I have Sutton right here at wide receiver 10. I have him just ahead of just behind AJ Brown, but with all this AJ Brown talk, I might have to move him back a spot or two, but we'll see. But yeah, I have Evans at 8, etc. All right, so good stuff there. Hopefully that helped you out there. Neanderthal Derek's in the house saying PPR pick 2, Garrett Wilson, Higgins, or Shakir. I think I like Higgins and Shakir in this one. Just not feeling that Jets offense, right now. I think Higgins and Shakir. Shakir has a better chance to get 6 catches, which is kind of like scoring a touchdown. And I think Higgins definitely has upside with catches and touchdown upside. Whereas Garrett Wilson, you're just hoping for receptions. Maybe he'll score, a touchdown. Last good thing we've seen him do was that, OBJ-esque catch. What was it on Monday night? Long time ago now. But it was one of the best catches that we've seen all year. But he's been super quiet since. So week 15, going for your playoffs. If it were me, I'm going Higgins and Shakir. Smoky Cat, what's up, everyone? He's sitting in a bye week. He's hoping Bucky's good to go in 2 weeks. Same with me. I have Bucky on one of my week 1 bye week teams. And what's funny is I actually have Brees on this team as well, and Braylon Allen. I also have Demont. I had I had J.K. Dobbins. Demont's basically my RB1 right now. And it's between Brees. I've been kind of rotating between Brees, Bucky, and JK. So basically it was Demont, JK until JK went down. And then about that same time is when Bucky was good to go. So I'm right there with you, man. I hope he's ready to go. I actually don't mind if he sits this week and gets healthier for next week. So I'd like to see him healthy next week. And as Braylon Allen to drop, it's going to be close, man. I mean, obviously Isaiah Davis is kind of the big name because he scored the touchdown and had the goal line carries. I think he had 4 to Braylon Allen's 1 inside the 10, like in the green zone last week. Someone could check me on that, but it was something like that. Which is what's worrisome. And he was getting the passing game usage. So as far as a fantasy standpoint, he was getting those high value touches that we say, which are those receptions and the goal line work. So I had to drop Allen in 1 league. I'm not really a fan of it. I still kind of want to hold and see, what happens, at least until we hear if Brees is good to go or not. He is kind of trending in the opposite way. I haven't even got to the news and notes yet. We're at an hour and a half. But yeah, so, I want to see what happens with Brees first. I mean, it really depends on who you're going to pick up. So yeah, and especially if you're not playing for another week, he may be irrelevant by next week if Brees is back. So yeah, a lot's going to depend on it. So yeah, check back on Friday. I know you'll be here, Smokey, and we'll talk about it more with Phil. All right. So Jay Silva says, when you're playing your defense, what do you think is better? Great defense versus bad matchup, or bad defense versus a great matchup? Example: Bengals versus Titans, or Steelers versus Eagles. It's tough when you look at the extreme that way. I usually just don't like playing bad defenses because it really doesn't matter. Because offenses can still, put up points like they're still professionals. If the defense is terrible and they can't tackle, like if they just can't tackle like the Bengals can't do, especially now without Logan Wilson, it's just so tough. Like you saw what Rico Dowdle did, and he's not a great running back, right? Like you've seen what, these guys do. So like Pollard should be able to run all over this defense or all over this offense. It's just that the Bengals offense is so high powered that they kind of make up for the defense's, pitfalls, which to me is the perfect powder keg for fantasy football. Is a fantastic, talented offense with an awful defense, which causes them to just have to keep putting points up in a game to try to win. You just wish maybe they won 2 more games so they don't think about shutting these guys down for the season once they're technically out of playoff contention. Like, let's just make it through these next, couple weeks. And if they want to sit week 18, then that's fine. But yeah, so that's kind of where we're helping at. But to get back to answer your question, I know I went off on a little bit of a tangent there. I prefer to still play the better defense because those guys, like, again, you have JJ Watt, like he could potentially still get a sack. Like, especially like going against the Eagles, Jalen Hurts, he throws picks. And one of those could be a pick 6, depending on, where he throws it. Again, as a running quarterback, again, if they contain him, he will give up sacks. So again, just depends on what your defensive scoring settings are. If they're rewarding, those turnovers and, stuff like that, then yeah, it could work. So again, Will Levis could throw a pick 6 as well too. It's hard to tell, but I think I prefer a good defense in a fairly bad matchup versus a bad defense in a good or great matchup. So there we go. Ooh, anyone who was here on Monday night saw me get just totally dry mouth. Been talking for about an hour, 30 minutes. I think I took a couple sips this time, but made sure to have some water here with me. But only have a couple more here to go. I'll run through the notes. I don't know if we'll have time to get to the breakdowns today, but maybe I'll do a separate video and just drop that, and maybe just drop the link to the guys in the leagues themselves. But probably, obviously I'll drop it here on the channel as well, and do kind of a breakdown. But yeah, let's get some more questions here. Wicked Pompano saying Rasta to go. Appreciate you, my guy. Appreciate you. Mega Brick says week 1 of playoffs, do you start Purdy or Goff? I have Purdy ahead in my rankings. I don't think you can go wrong really with either guy. But as far as my rankings here, we kind of talked about Purdy earlier in the show, but I literally have them back to back. So I have Purdy at 9 and Goff at 10. So, I like their matchups, playing against Josh Allen. So that should be a shootout in Buffalo. Purdy and the Rams, they always put up points against one another as well too. And, not as good of a defense. And, Purdy's coming off a big game. Kittle's healthy. Debo technically is healthy. Don't have much of a running game potentially here with Taylor, so they might have to put it on Brock. And we're right on that spot. If we win this game, it's a huge game. We could tie it up 7-7 at least with the Rams. Then we're kind of both chasing the Seahawks at this point. But we're basically win or go home at this point as well too, as far as the Niners. So yeah, I think it's going to have to be put on Purdy's shoulders, so to speak. So I like Purdy just a little bit ahead, but again, if you want to go Goff, you don't want to, if Purdy does have a bad game, you don't want to wait till Sunday with like staring at a 12, because he went for, 250 and like a touchdown only. If you don't want to have to stare at that all week, then start the guy playing on Sunday. So again, it depends on how you want to play your fantasy football there. What can you tolerate the most? Mega Brick, sit 1 full PPR, Amon Ra, Drake London, Judy, and Jawan Jennings. So out of this out of these four, pretty easy sit of Judy for me, especially if Tillman comes back. Again, if Judy gets the McDuffie treatment there in Kansas City, they're just, the best defense, out of these guys. I like the other matchups better. So I will sit Judy in this one. And then he says full PPR, Hunter Henry or Otten. I'm going to go Otten in this one. But again, won't hate you for playing Henry. I like his matchup as well, but Otten should be the second target leader, maybe third if you want to count like Rashad White. But outside of Evans, really Otten's the guy. McMillan, of course, had the 2 touchdowns last week, but we know this offense should funnel through Mike Evans and Otten and Rashad White in the passing game. So that's what you hope for. All in One Show says London, Higgins, Jennings, pick one. Ooh, that's tough. I think I have Drake London as my highest ranked guy out of this one. Let me just double check. It's just tough because Kirk Cousins hasn't thrown like a touchdown since he was in Minnesota, it seems like. Let's see. Yeah, so going up against Las Vegas, man, and we've seen Kirk cook when he's going up against just terrible defenses, which, Vegas. In Vegas, just hope they don't have like a huge, night out and they're playing well. But yeah, I have Drake London at 12. I have John Jennings at 15. And I have Higgins at 14. So they're all in a nice little clump right there, only with Cooper Kupp in between. But London, Higgins, Jennings is my order there. But I could see putting Jennings, ahead of T, considering Chase is, also there. Jennings, is playing that X receiver, should get the most targets. I might actually make that switch right now. Yeah. So I'm going to put Juwan Jennings at 14 and T. Higgins at 15. So there we go. I actually want to move Terry McLaurin down. That's tough. I'm gonna have to dial these rankings in, dial them in by the end of the week. But this is why we usually wait till Friday to start sit. But this is what happens when you ask me anything show. So I asked for it. So it helps. It helps my process. Helps me put these rankings in order by getting your guys' questions and testing where I really would have these guys. So it's good stuff, man. I really appreciate it. Jay Silva says, thanks for the insight, brother. Good night, guys. Good luck this week. Absolutely good luck. Again, unless you're playing me. Mega Brick says, thanks, bro. And let's go Niners. Oh, appreciate that. Let's go. My guy. And I think this might be the last question here, at least for now. All in One Show says, would you start Connor over Higgins or Jennings? In full PPR, I still think I'm going to go with Jennings and or Higgins over Connor. In this one. So yeah, if Connor was catching passes like he was earlier in the year, maybe, but I just like the upside that these guys, could bring, and I'll give up some of the floor that Connor could provide for the potential ceiling. Cause again, it's win or go home. So, you got to score points. So, not time to play it safe, somewhat safe, but I think this is it's not like a crazy, ridiculous risk. You're not trying to play like Adam Thielen over Connor. That's not even like too crazy, but you know what I'm trying to say. So there we go. All right, so we're finally caught up in the chat. So good stuff there. Only about an hour and 40 minutes in. Let's talk news and notes. Let's go back to the post intro. So we hit the intro, we hit the chat, and stayed there for about an hour and a half there, which is good stuff, man. Like I said, this is what I'm here for. Love talking to you guys. This is how the show got built and started. So again, make sure you guys are hitting that like and subscribe button for me. That's the best way you can show us love. Tell people about our channel, have them come check it out, especially right now at the holiday times, man. You're about to go see family and friends and nieces and nephews. Just grab their phones and just go subscribe to Get Right Fantasy Network from their phone, their account. You don't even have to tell them. Just say, hey, can I borrow your phone real quick? I got to, mine's charging or something, and I got to show you guys this video. And just, oh yeah, Get Right Fantasy, boom, pop it in, hit subscribe, just be like, oh, I forgot what it was, and just hand them the phone back and you'll be good. I'll give anyone a free entry to the Listener League drawing that tells me they do that here over the holidays. So let me know. Subscribe tell me your YouTube, your normal YouTube handle that you type from. Leave a comment from say, hey, hijack so and so, this person's phone. This is all in one show, or this is Mega Brick, from my niece's phone or something like that, from their YouTube account. And then I'll know it's you, and I'll throw you in throw you on the list for the Listener League drawing for next season. So let's do that. That'll be fun. All right. I want to see those increases climb here over the holiday weekends, guys. Let's get those subs up. All right. So I think I just started clicking around like crazy there. Oh, yeah, that's right. All right. So anyway, let's get into we'll finish off here. We'll just get into some news and notes. Anyone who wants to stay around. And then maybe, just maybe, I will do a little bit of the previews here and just kind of read off the names who's at least getting in the playoffs here, week 15. And then we'll call it a night. So, oh man, and this whole time I never had our cool banner on. That's what happens when you're producing the show here yourself. Let's get this all adjusted properly. Boom, there we go. At least you guys had my full big old head the whole show. But there you go. Again, for anyone new, you guys can check out that at the bottom and just list our normal shows. We're basically live here for you guys. 7 days a week. We have content drop between us and our affiliate channels. The links are all in the description. And here's our show rundown. You can pause that, but the easiest way is just to sub and throw your notifications on. And when we go live, you'll be notified. And yeah, sometimes we have, multiple live streams a day. So I had one earlier with Phil doing our Dynasty show from the Extra Point. And he was on at 6. And then I came on not too long after. So bringing content for you guys here all off season. So again, make sure you guys are throwing the subs to theirs, guys, and we'll go from there. So yeah, Dim Boys is one of those league rundowns. So let me try to get to it. All right, so let's run through these. Let's run through the news and notes here. I think that's what I'm trying to find. Boom, the banner. All right, let's get through it. So I know it's late, and we've probably mentioned a lot of these here. So hopefully I won't spend too much time on it. Oops. Let me get back up to the show sheet. All right, so here we go. All right, so news topics. We've already talked Rams, Niners here, and we actually have 2 Monday night football games this week: Bears, Vikings, and Falcons at Raiders. So 2 Monday night games. So that'll really make things interesting for week 15. So Raiders coach Antonio Pierce said running back Alexander Madison, who's dealing with that ankle injury, he's going to assume he'll probably be active this week, but also said that Sincere McCormick is going to remain the running back 1 should Madison return. Said he's run his tail off. And then they've also placed Zamir White completely on the injured reserve list. So he's done. So it looks like Sincere McCormick's going to be the RB1. And then I assume Alexander Madison will probably be in that role he played with Zamir White. And McCormick's going to take the original White role unless they just give him the full bell cow role. As Madison continues to work his way back from the ankle. We did have the Giants announce that Tommy DeVito will be the Giants starter here this week after missing the last week dealing with that forearm injury, I think 2 weeks. And then Drew Lock is dealing with a heel injury, so his foot is like in a boot or something right now. So DeVito it will be. As far as other injuries, we all saw Joe Burrow, have that knee brace, that wrap kind of put on. After he got, that face mask that was uncalled. And so he was limited today with the knee, but he already said he's playing, so I shouldn't have anything to worry about there. But you'll continue to see that notification throughout the week. Saints quarterback Derek Carr, again, they haven't ruled him out. He's not only dealing with that hand injury, the broken hand, but also dealing with the concussion. So they're just kind of taking it day by day. But they also said week to week. So again, it's looking like it'll be Haener this week if Carr can't go. And then again, with the other weird quarterback news, originally thinking Aiden O'Connell's going to be done for the season with a serious knee injury. Comes back after testing. It's just a bone bruise in the knee. And chance he's going to play today. He did participate in walkthroughs today. And when Pierce was asked if O'Connell will start against the Falcons on Monday, said it just depends on how he looks this week. So sounds like he might be a go, and maybe it won't be Desmond Ridder, which will be better for Bowers and Myers. Definitely would move them up in my rankings. Seahawks running back Ken Walker, still dealing with that calf. They're considering him day to day. They're saying there are positive signs, but it is nothing long term, and there's no more tests to do. So he's just trying to get right. So we'll see how he does throughout the week. Obviously the teams I have, Charbonnet and some best ball teams, would love it if he maybe just took it easy and sat one more week for Mr. Ken Walker there. Packers running back Josh Jacobs, he's dealing with the calf strain. He did not practice today, but again, this is all Wednesday, so take everything here with a grain of salt. You did have Bucks running back Bucky Irving dealing with that back injury. He was a DNP today. Jets running back Breece Hall dealing with that knee also. He was a DNP, but they said he is kind of struggling a bit for this one. And his status is for this week is going to be unclear. So that, again, is going to be a close one to keep an eye on. So it's going to be a lot of questions, Braylon Allen or Isaiah Davis. So we'll just kind of see what happens here heading into the week. I'd like to avoid, both of them as possible, just because it's so uncertain on what's going to happen, or you just take your chances with one or the other. And again, they're just in week 15, not somewhere I'm trying to be. Hopefully you're in a better situation, but if you're not, come back on Friday and we'll let you know where we're feeling then once we have all the news. Saints running back Alvin Kamara missed today's practice. He's just dealing with an illness, so he should be fine and good to go. Cowboys wide receiver CeeDee Lamb dealing with that AC joint shoulder issue. He was limited today, which was a good sign that he just wasn't even a DNP. He was actually limited, so he should be going that way. Giants wide receiver Malik Neighbors dealing with that hip injury. He was limited today. Packers wide receiver Romeo Doubs. He's still in the concussion protocol, but he did practice in full after missing the last 2 weeks. So we'll see if he makes it back this week. We did have wide receiver Josh Downs for the Colts dealing with that shoulder injury still. I think he's missed the last 2 games, and they're coming off the bye. He was limited today, which was a good sign, but Michael Pittman Jr. Dealing with that back issue, he did practice in full. The big one, we've talked about it, during the chat, Chargers wide receiver Ladd McConkey dealing with knee and shoulder injuries. He was limited today, but he was also limited all week last week, and ultimately did not suit up as a game time decision. So again, we're just going to have to, keep an eye on it this week, hopefully better prepared. If we do see limited and not upgraded to full, but what we'd like to see is at least upgrade to full practice by Friday. That would bode well for his Sunday availability. Browns running back or Browns wide receiver Cedric Tillman, he's still in the concussion protocol, but he was limited back at practice today. Ravens wide receiver coming off the bye, Rashad Bateman dealing with that knee injury. He practiced in full, so he's on track to play this week. Bills wide receiver Keon Cole practiced in full for the first time since injuring his wrist a few weeks ago after missing the last 2 or 3 games. Be hard to kind of trust him coming back week 15 and for playoff run, but I have him on several teams, so we'll see what happens. I don't think I'm going to start him this week. I do have some other better options, fortunately. But again, will be interesting to see. Prefer maybe not to play because that'll be better for Shakir. So we'll see what happens. Steelers wide receiver George Pickens dealing with that hamstring injury. He was the DNP today, and they've already kind of ruled him out. Basically, they said he's unlikely to play Sunday, so not looking good there. So that means Fairmouth might be a good stream this week if you're in a situation with the tight end. We have the Cardinals tight end Trey McBride. Speaking of tight ends, he popped up on the injury report today. I didn't hear really anything on Monday about it or over the weekend, but apparently he hurt his knee in that game, and he was limited today. So we'll just definitely keep a close eye on that. You had Browns tight end David Njoku dealing with a hamstring. He's day-to-day. He was DNP. And then Jags tight end Evan Ingram dealing with the shoulder injury. He was DNP, but Peterson does expect him to play. So appreciate all that. You guys, thanks for sticking with me through it. Of course, news and notes brought to you from our boys over at underdogfantasy.com. So again, check out Underdog. Go check out their best ball. There's no waivers, no trades, no lineup setting. Just basically draft your team, set it and forget it, or check out it throughout the year like I do. Watch your teams kind of go up and down. And then I think I did 64 teams this year. And I want to say I'm advancing in 16 of those 64. Last year I did, I think, 11 out of 69. I had 2 teams I had 2 teams make it to week 16 and 1 team make it to week 17. And that 1 team did place 42nd place out of 70,464 people. So that was really cool. Turned like $3 into like $400, which was pretty awesome. So yeah, make sure you guys go check out underdogfantasy.com, use that promo code. And when you do, you will get that deposit match 50% up to $1,000. So you can deposit 10 and get 5, or deposit, the full 2,000 and get the 1,000 in bonus cash, which is awesome. I only got $100 no matter how much I deposited when I first signed up. So it was only 100. So take advantage of this promo while they still have it. And then not only will you get that bonus match, you'll also get a free pick if you sign up between now and Thursday. You will get the Brock Purdy higher or lower on their pick 'em. And so those are fun throughout the year. You're just picking higher or lower on, player stats like total yards, rushing and receiving, touchdowns, and they even have defensive ones for, sacks and tackles and things like that. So it's a lot of fun. Go check them out. Of course, play responsibly. And again, use that promo code Get Right when you do. All right. I think lastly that we were going to get into is for anyone who wants to stay and stick around, pretty much the regular show is going to be over now. But if you want to stay and stick around for the update on our listener leagues, I'll kind of go through those now, kind of just let you guys know, the people who are in that and which teams are advancing. So again, appreciate all you guys for again sticking around with us. Again, hit that like and subscribe button for us if you haven't already. So yeah, for all of you guys, good luck this week. If you do have to bounce out now, and like I said, I'll get into the rest of it here now for those who want to stay. All right, so for the Get Right diehards here, maybe you guys were watching and trying to get in these leagues during the off season. We have, as I mentioned, 5 different leagues that we run here through Get Right. We have the official Get Right Listener League. We have the Got Left Out Listener League, which is the kind of the secondary league. If you didn't make the first Listener League, gives you another opportunity to get in this other one. And then we have our Ambassador League, which is the ambassadors for the Get Right channel playing against kind of myself, so to speak. But it's just, a place for all of us to make sure we all get to play, against one another. And also not taking up spots like in our listener league, so we can get more of you listeners involved playing against us as well, because nothing better than saying you beat the guys that have their own show. So we know how fun that is. So we like to mix it up with the audience. So if you're one of the lucky of like 7 or 8 people that get to play against the Get Right crew, again, you can earn those entries during the off season by showing up to live streams, interacting, answering questions, saying something funny, whatever it is. I just give out entries, and then we do a drawing. And then the easiest way, of course, is getting someone to participate in our mock draft, or getting them to, of course, subscribe, to the channel. And that'll get you and them an entry to a chance to get in the listener league. So with all that said, let's bring up the first league here. And this is going to be the official Get Right Listener League. So I know it's probably hard to see on the screen there, but that is spots 1 through 12 in the league. So basically, we'll start from 12 and work our way up. So in this league, we have Classic Mike, myself, we have Frank. Actually, in this one, Dustin, my brother-in-law, and myself, we were co-managing this team. He helped draft, and we managed it throughout the year. And then there's Kendall and Phil. I think because we already did this league, I don't think we got Tycoon in it, but he's in the Ambassador League. So basically everybody from Get Right here, except for Tycoon. Sorry, Tycoon. But they're in this league. So we had, if you can see it in there, we had Classic Mike all the way down here in 12th place. He went 4-10, so obviously out of the playoffs. In 11th place, we had the reigning champ, Fish and Frank, of all people, going from first to basically worst. Back-to-back years, he went 5-9 this year. We had JWN, John. He made it in this year, one of our listeners and subscribers. He went 5-9. 10th place here. We had our boy Jay Baloney. You guys probably know him from the mock drafts. He went 5-9 as well, finishing in ninth place. We had our boy Adam C, who came on late in the mock draft tournament, and he was able to get in the drawing and won a spot in the league, and so he ended up finishing in 8th place, real close at 6-8. And then right tied with him, but just beat him out by points, was Phil, who finished in 7th place by about 40 points with the same 6-8 record. So those guys unfortunately did not make the playoffs. But starting with Dim Boys Jr., who has been in back-to-back championship games, won it the first year, or I'm sorry, won it his first year, which was 2 years ago, against his dad, actually, Dim Boys, who's in the chat here. So they played against one another in a father-son championship. And of course, Junior won over Dad, so that was pretty awesome. And we've still to this day will not let Dim Boys live that down. And so they ended up having another matchup last year, but it was in the semifinals, and Dim Boys got him again. Made it into the championship against Fish and Frank, but Fish and Frank was able to take Dim Boys Jr. down. And so now here he is again, trying to make his way back to his 3rd consecutive championship game. He sneaks in with a 7-7 record here as Dim Boys Jr., trying to make some noise. And then right after him is myself here. Rasta is sitting with an 8-6 record. So at least I was over 500. That was nice. And battled my way back in this one. It wasn't looking good for too long. Kind of was hot for a little while. But I was able to sneak in here with the 5th place spot. And then we have in 4th place our boy Kendall, sitting here with a 9-5 record, just out of reach of me. And then but he's sitting in a good spot. And then we have a pretty fly for a QB guy, our boy Wicked Pompano, who I don't know if he's still in the chat here or not, but he ended up in 3rd place, one of our listeners. So 9-5 record, well done. And then we have our boy Heat Override over here. He was 10-4, man, so nice record. He actually lost to Breaking Ball here, who also went 10-4, got him by points in just the very last week. He Override was sitting in 1st place almost all year, and then I think just the last 2 games or so, he got a loss or didn't score a lot of points or something kind of happened there, and he fell into 2nd place right here after week 14. So those are your top 6. Breaking Ball at 1, Heat Override at 2, Wicked Pompano at 3, Kindle at 4, myself at 5, and Dustin, of course, co-managed team, and then Dim Boys Jr., again, trying to make his 3rd consecutive championship in the 6th spot. So we'll see how this continues to play out. I'll try to update you guys next week. But yeah, that should be a lot of fun. And as far as the matchups go, it's going to be Kindle and myself against each other week 1 here. In the the 3-5 matchup, or 4-5 matchup. We have Wicked Pompano and Dim Boys Jr. in the the 3-6 matchup. So we have Breaking Ball and Heat Override awaiting our there we go. I think I have a new thing waiting our arrival. So the winner of Kindle and myself will play Breaking Ball, and the winner of Pompano and Dim Boys Jr. Will play Heat Override in round 2. So excited to see it happen, man. So congratulations to everyone, the listeners who made it in, and haha to Frank and Classic Mike for getting 11th and 12th in your own podcast league. So let's not have that happen, guys. We're all supposed to make the playoffs, guys. It should just be all of us in the playoffs. Come on now. Come on. We're going to lose viewers that way. Nah, just kidding. Good stuff, guys. Good stuff. All right. So, excuse me. The next one here we're going to get into is our Got Left fantasy leagues. So it's kind of like the overflow league, anyone who didn't make it. So in 6th place, or I'm sorry, in 6th, we'll start down at 12. So in 12th place in this one is our boy Dim Boys Jr., who was here in the chat. So he got a bad end of the stick here, went 3-11 in 12th place. We had our guy Dorte 5656. He was in 11th place at 5-9. Then you got your boy here, Rasta. This is one of my 4 teams that did not make the playoffs. Your boy here ended up in 10th place after winning this thing just 2 years ago. I came in with a 6-8 record. and did not make the playoffs. Our boy Jeezy was right here, just barely ahead of me. We tied at 6-8 record. So he finished in ninth place. Our boy Jeezy got my boy Blastman 420 in here. He was went 7-7, got that 8th spot, still didn't make it in. Our guy Phase 300. Haven't seen him in the chat in a little bit, but hopefully he is just watching after hours or when we're not live. He went 7-7 in 7th place, and then starting with 6th place here. We actually had 4 teams in this league go 7-7, so it was a real competitive league, man. It was real close all year. So yeah, 4 teams battling for that 5 and 6 spot. They all end up 7-7, and it comes down to points. So Phase and Diesel were at 1733, 1741. Brocal was at 1790, and Neanderthal here in 5th place at 1876. So they had them, pretty well by points there in 5 and 6, but yeah, close on the record. You have Nick Rock 21 coming back at 8 and 6, sitting in that 4 spot. You got Gotcha 420 in here, racking up that 3rd spot at 8 and 6. And then you got Unogas, my guy over here at 9 and 5. It's in 2nd place. And you got your boy who's here in the chat always, Raven Show Yo, at the top spot at 11 and 3. Almost most points overall. Gotcha had more points than him, and so did Nick Rock. But he had the nice matchups. Goes 11 and 3, sitting in 1st place. Matchups for this one looks like it's going to be Nick Rock, and let me go back. So matchups are going. Oops. I was already there. All right, so matchups are going to be myself. Oh no, I'm not even in this one. I'm out of here. So Nick Rock and Neanderthal Ball are going to play each other, and the winner of that game will face the number 1 seed in Raven Show Yo. And then you got Brocal and Gotcha 420 playing one another, waiting. Unogas will be awaiting the winner of that matchup in round 2. So congratulations to you guys. You're lucky I'm not in there. Don't have a shot to win this one. But I will be coming back with a vengeance next year. I don't like not making the playoffs in teams. So, or in leagues. I got to make the playoffs, man. So, all right. So good stuff there. We'll get into the next listener league here. And that's going to be our ambassador league. So again, big shout out to my ambassadors, man. Thank you guys all so much. From the new additions, Kendall and Phil, of course, Cody, Magoats, and Jack with the Sweet Life Pod, and then of course like our listener ambassadors, Wilson, who helps us with the intro and is the one who got us our intro music, and stuff like that. Gets us some amazing guests that you guys have seen us have here in the off season. So again, can't thank him enough for his time and dedication that he puts in to get right. It's really awesome for him to do. And, of course, everyone else, Brocal and, just everyone in this league, man. Tycoon's in here, of course. Just everyone, our original horsemen, and Knees in here. We got Flag RJ, who was just getting people into our mock draft tournament. So he was getting people in there. Our boy Pillsbury Throwboy from up in Canada helps with our mock draft tournament as well. Runs them and gets people to join. So again, just a ton of support here. So I can't thank you guys enough. Rafi, of course, our guy Rafi, you guys know him from being in the chat. So just, yeah, man, just a great group of guys in here. And again, all to help, my dream of having a podcast here, man, to have these guys help put that together. I couldn't be more thankful. So with that said, now that I've said all the good, let's rip on some guys, because we have our boy Nee, who is 3-time reigning champ in our Get Right Dynasty League. He, which I'm not going to cover here tonight, but he went 0-14 in this league. So not sure what happened. Maybe he forgot that he was playing. It's kind of hard to go 0-14. Usually you just kind of can find a win somewhere. But I have to go back and check and see exactly what happened. But, sometimes you just get some injuries, things happen. And it is what it is. So 0-14 for my guy. Then you got Rafi Bomb again, just like Frank, going from first to basically last, 11th in the listener league, or I'm sorry, in the in the listener league. We had Rafi go from first to oh no, did he win this one last year? Oh no, Pills I think won it last year. I don't know who won it last year. But either way, maybe that's the Tournament of Champions, Rafi. We'll talk about that later. But yeah, so Rafi's here at 11, going 4-10. We had Pillsbury Bear Throw Boy in 10th place, going 5-9. You had Phil Ruskin in here going 6-8 in 9th place. Had our boy Tycoon in 8th place here at 6-8. And you have Kindle here in 7th place at 6-8. So Kindle, Tycoon, and Phil, all the same record, all 6-8, and separated by a total of 40 points. But Tycoon and Phil were separated by about 5 points. So tough draws there. But at 8-6, our boy Dim Boys was able to sneak in here into the playoffs. So congratulations, Dim Boys, for the 6th spot. Have our boy Flag RJ here going 9-5. He is in 5th place. You had your boy Rasta in the 4th spot going 9-5. You had Wilson 9-5 also. So the 3 of us all going 9-5, but he got us in points there. So good job, Wilson, for that 3 spot. And then you have, of course, the Magoat has to be up at the top. So he went 10-4, sitting in 2nd spot. And then you had the Light of Genesis. Our boy broke out with that 12-2 record. So sitting atop the Ambassador League. Well done, Bro Cal, from the 3rd shift usually. So he'll probably watch this a little bit later. But congratulations on the Ambassador League, man. Again, appreciate you guys. And just so you know, I'm going to try to win this whole thing. So no pulling punches here. So you got Flag RJ and myself going up against one another. We will have to play the number 1 guy, the 12-2 guy, if we advance. So I don't know if it's really winning. But hey, it is what it is. Happy to have an opportunity. I'll take any challenge as long as I have an opportunity. And then you have Magoats is going to be awaiting the winner of, I believe, Dim Boys and the Greedy Committee. So you have Dim Boys and Wilson going up against one another, and the winner will take on Magoats. So good luck to you guys, man. And again, appreciate you ambassadors out there. And so there you go. I don't know how long ago this was, but Raven said, shout out Dim Boys. We traded twice in this league. Great effing guys. So yeah, good stuff, man. Good stuff. Raven says, love just chilling in chat, getting advice and knowledge. This is a great community, man. And he says, thanks, Rasta, man. No, I really appreciate it, dude. This is what I just love to do. What's funny is, like, if you knew us and like Frank and Dustin, like the reason we started this show is because we just love talking fantasy football, man. Like we would be having these discussions on the phone or whatever. So we said, why not just throw a mic on and let everybody hear, what we have to say. And I used to just be, I don't know if you call it sad or meant to do this, but like I used to be in Sleeper before it got even real big in those threads, and I would be in those threads answering people start sick questions and stuff like that. Just from there, people would send me those cookies, if you guys remember those things from back in the day. And that's how I love just passing my time, because I just love fantasy football. So finally it was just like, hey, let's just take this thing to the next level. And here we are 4 years later, and on our way to 2,000 subscribers. So again, just appreciate all you guys and everyone that's had an opportunity to make this happen. So again, couldn't do without you guys, and of course couldn't do without the Get Right crew. All right. So let's talk about the next one here. Now, this one's the Guillotine League. It's a little hard to kind of go through, and it's hard to see on this one. But just to let you guys know, on the Guillotine League, we do have 4 people left who will be playing over these next 3 weeks. Each team, lowest scoring team, will be eliminated. And that's how it's going to roll until week 17. There's just going to be one team left standing. And for those of you guys who don't know what a Guillotine League is, basically the lowest scoring team is out of the league. You're just out of the league in general. There is no head-to-head matchups. the points don't matter, or total points don't matter. Your weekly points are the only thing that matter. So in that week, if you are the lowest point, you don't need to score the highest points. You just can't score the lowest. I was out week 2, scored the lowest amount of points week 2. It was when Josh Allen had that like 5-point game or whatever it was after having like a 40-point game to start the season. I was out just like that. Takes one bad performance and you're done. And it's 18 people to start. So your teams aren't that great when they first start. But as teams start getting eliminated, we bid for players. Again, you can Google, what a guillotine league is, or watch on YouTube what a guillotine league is. But it was a lot of fun. A lot of people in this were playing for their first time. It was kind of like a beginner league. A couple of people have maybe played a couple times before, like myself. So it was just real fun for us to do. A lot of people really enjoyed it. It was a great group of guys. Even as people were getting eliminated, they were still commenting on, the bids and things like that. So it truly was a lot of fun. So again, just big shout out to, those guys there. And as far as the 4 teams remaining, one of those is Neanderthal Ball. He's kind of projected right now to score the most this week. So he's sitting in a good spot. If you were here earlier, he asked this question, like, who do I start at, Justin Jefferson, Jamar Chase. It's one of those kind of teams. And then we have our boy Thanos, who thought he was out like 3 or 4 times. He ended up like he ended up thinking he was out like 3 or 4 times. He just barely snuck out a win this week by 0.12 points over B Waller. Shout out to the Dynasty Pylon fellas. But yeah, man, he just nudged it out. And then the good part about it is it doesn't matter anymore. You just got to try again this week and just try not to score the lowest amount of points this week. And it doesn't matter what you did all the previous weeks. You get a new chance and start fresh and have a whole team of players to go. So yeah, it's 4 guys left. We have Aiden White 234 in here, and then we have Footsie Bally in here as well. So awesome. It's been a fun league. Like Neanderthal said, he's still here watching. It was good stuff. It was just really fun to do just something a little different. So I don't know if you guys are able to zoom in on that screen at all and see these guys' teams, but once you get down to 4 teams, literally it's just these 4 guys that have access to the entire roster, or like the entire player pool. So their starting teams and their bench is just loaded. And so you think it would be easier as it goes on because you just have better players, but actually it's harder because now you have to make these tough start sit decisions where normally if you have Saquon, you're starting Saquon, right? Like if you have King Henry, you're starting King Henry, but you might have King Henry, Saquon, and who else do you have there? Neanderthal again. Like you have like 4 of the top like 6 ranked running backs this week. And so like, how do you differentiate these guys and get the max points, or at least don't have the lowest points, and definitely don't start the guy that's going to get hurt. So it's nice to have a crystal ball in these leagues, but if you don't, you just play your guy, and it's fun to see how it shakes out. And it always comes down to Monday night, which has been awesome. So yeah, man. So congratulations to you 4. It's definitely a chore to get this far in a guillotine league. You guys have made it. You haven't scored the least amount of points, but Rasta the Reaper is coming for you. Only one of you will be left that I won't chop. So hopefully it's not you. But good stuff, guys. Good stuff. All right. So last but not least, and then I got to get out of here, man, over 2 hours on a Wednesday. We're going to talk about the Get Right Fantasy 2024 Tournament of Champions. So we were talking about the mock draft tournament earlier, which is, do I have it still? Yeah, there we go. So our mock draft tournament. So like I said, we run that tournament. You got your qualifying mock drafts that are run Monday through Thursday. If you place top 3, you advance to the Friday semifinal round for that week. And if you place top 3 there, you advance to the finale. If you lose, you just start again next week, and you get into a qualifier again, try to advance to the semifinal, and then try to make the final there. So you'll have kind of 4 chances to do that because we're going to do it for 4 straight weeks. And basically, we're going to take the top 3 drafters from every week and drop all them into one best ball draft, and they're going to draft it, and we're going to play that thing out. So we've done that now. We've played that league out, and this is where we stand. So As far as the league goes, we had the reigning champion, Mr. Rafi Baum, and this is where I was getting it mixed up earlier. He ended up went from first to worst. So he is the reigning champ, and then finished this year in 12th place at 2-12 here in the best ball league. So sure, some injuries and things played into it. But hey, it's the way the cookie crumbles sometimes, man. So it was a hard fall from the top, Rafi, but we know you'll be back in there next year, my guy. Because you watch the show a lot. A lot of these people, if they watch the show, they know how we like the players we like, and so that does help them advance in the tournament itself. So it definitely pays to watch our videos. In the 11th place, we had Adam C. Going 4-10. We had Nick Rock go 4-10 as well. We had Jay Bologna in 9th place here. He's 5-9. We had Jake the Snake 14-14. He ended up in 8th place with a 7-7 record. We had our boy Ravens Show Yo. He goes 7-7 in this one, just missing the playoffs in 7th place. So 7th place, so it's 7-7. You got all those sevens going for you, but it didn't work out for you there, Ravens. But we did have Breaking Ball, so he will advance in 6th place with an 8-6 record. We have Down in the Hole, who advanced with an 8-6 record. Then we have Lord of Fanta, who advanced with an 8-6 record in 4th place. So that's 6th, 5th, and 4th. Our 3rd place was Awesome Eckler. He ended with a 9-5 record. Then we had Vince Mapstone. He finished with an 11-3 record in 2nd place. And then the 1st place regular season finisher was JWN 71 with an 11-3 record, same as Vince. But he beats him out by basically 0.9 points or 04 points or something like that. So it's very, very close there at the top. But yeah, these guys will compete in a standard playoff format. Top 6 teams. The only difference is again, they're not making any trades, any waiver moves all year. And the system will set the best lineup, their max optimal lineup. And so we have Lord of Fanta playing Down in the Hole this week. And the winner will face JWN in the top bracket. And then we have Breaking Ball and Awesome Eckler facing off. And the winner of that will face Vince Mapstone in round 2. So again, we'll keep you guys updated on all these leagues heading into next week if you're interested. But yeah, man, other than that, I think we're going to call it a night there. I do have Eli the Reaper, though. I love the name Eli the Reaper because I'm Rasta the Reaper. So I think we're long lost brothers. He says, start Warren or McCormick if Waddle doesn't play. I didn't hear anything about Waddle not playing. But if that's the case, I think I like McCormick a little better in this one just because Najee is there. And McCormick, they came out and said he's going to be the RB1 there. I mean, Warren's been, putting up decent. He has some standalone value, more like a flex, but I think McCormick is going to land in that, low in RB2 range for me. If we, we already know he's starting heading into this week. So if Madison's out, I like him a little more. If Madison's in, I still think, he's going to get the bulk of the carries and hopefully if there is any goal line opportunities, the goal line work. That's also the only thing that worries me there. It is still the Raiders offense. So is what it is. But you have me interested in this Waddle situation now. Limited by hamstrings, practice. Yeah, so they're saying it doesn't look like he's going to be sidelined. He played, 82% of the snaps last week. Still just kind of nursing that hamstring that he had. I don't think it's anything new. I think they're just kind of being more cautious. So, yeah, I think Waddle's good to go, and I'm definitely starting Waddle over the two of them. And then if not, it would be McCormick and then Warren. So, yeah, good stuff. Appreciate it, Eli. Like I said, I'm Rasta the Reaper, man. So nice to meet you. I don't know if we've seen you on here before. make sure you hit that like and subscribe button for us. Hopefully I answered your question quick enough and didn't bore you with our listener league updates. So we had a whole show before this. This is kind of the after show right now. All right. So Raven said the guys and I switched over to the sleeper this season from ESPN, and it was the best decision we had. Yeah. Love the sleeper platform, man. It's really good. Of course, loving the mock drafts. As you guys see, when I don't have this on down here, it says home of the Friday night mocks. So that's how this channel was founded, is we just started running mock drafts. And so we have a ton of great drafters. We can fill a mock draft, super quick. So if you guys ever want to, be doing mock drafts in the off season, make sure you guys stick with us, because that's what we'll be doing. Neanderthal said, it's insane fun. I think we got to that. Ravens was saying he was so close, man. He'll be better next season. So just draft a little better. You're a good manager. Just got to work on your draft. Just don't draft guys that get hurt, Ravens. It's just pretty easy. So it's pretty easy. And Neanderthal say, good night, bro. Thanks for the rundowns. Appreciate it, man. Of course, appreciate all you guys. Some of you guys are nuts sticking it out here with me for 2.5 hours. That's way too long for a stream. But again, I like to do it, man. Again, we're here for the viewers, for the listeners, for the subscribers. Hopefully we helped you guys. This is what we're here for. We'll be back here on Friday with our official start sit show of the week. So we'll by then have all of our rankings for the most part dialed in. We'll continue to dial them in during the show. But it'll be Phil and I here, and we'll go through half the game slate at 8 p.m. Pacific, and then that'll actually be part 2, because our co-parts, Kendall and Classic Mike, they will be on at 6 p.m. doing part 1. They'll recap the Thursday game and do half the game slate, and then Phil and I will finish the other half. So man. So appreciate it. So close, man. Get better drafting. Exactly. So he said it's been a great W stream, man. So appreciate it. Hope you guys liked it. Again, tell your friends about us. Tell them to come hang out, join us, getting these mock drafts in the off season. Help us grow, man. We want to keep bringing you awesome content, and hopefully we're doing that for you. Let us know how we're doing. Again, those comments really help. Post show, whatever it is, saying something good, asking a question. Either way, we'll be there for you. So we're gonna call it a night. I appreciate all you guys. I'm gonna get the outro queued up here. Man. So from all of us here at Get Right, man, happy playoff week 15. Like I said, we'll be back here for Start Sit part 1 and 2 on Friday. From all of us here at Get Right, for Dustin, for Frank, enjoy yourself, Frank, over in Cancun. Ooh, I don't know if I was supposed to say that. Don't go barging down there on them, guys. So have fun on your vacation. Don't rewind that, guys. So have fun on your vacation. Again, Dustin, appreciate you. Classic Mike, all you do. Of course, Phil and Kendall, again, awesome year having you guys here. And then, of course, Tycoon, been a pleasure having him here as well this year. And of course, Jack and Cody, our new Saturday show. So again, appreciate all you guys. All of us say good luck unless you're playing us, as we always say. So we'll see you guys on Friday, man. Take care. Peace out.
Fantasy is the play. Marking nothing but I tune every Friday. Strategies provided.